All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I'm your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing tonight? Shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch us, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's also say thank you to my6shirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. What is good? We got Melted Mind Media in the building. Welcome, brother. So we are jumping across the aisle today, ladies and gentlemen. We are jumping across the aisle. As election season gears up, we're talking a lot about what's going on with the Republicans, because that is where at least my vote, if anywhere, is going to go. But we have something here from the lefties, who I think, again, important to keep tabs on what they're doing. And especially since we don't know what's going to happen with Trump. What's his name? Cornel West, running with the Green Party, was on Jimmy Dore's channel, and they were going to have a discussion, and it seemed to be like they were on the same team, and then it didn't. So let's just dive right in. As always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Welcome back to the show, Dr. Cornel West.
Oh, thank you, my dear brother. I think about you. I think of George Carlin. The Union Seminary is right across the street from George Carlin.
Shout out to Iris. Welcome to the party. Good to see you.
Place.
Really? No kidding.
What a grand genius. He grew up on 121st and Broadway next to Corpus Christi Church, and they got a beautiful sign saluting him. And beside Richard Pryor, he's got to be one of the greatest comic geniuses of the last 50 years, my brother.
Well,
a black person cannot talk about comedy without referencing Richard Pryor. It's hilarious. Like, I love Richard Pryor, but can we just talk about George Carlin and give him his due?
Certainly wish he was still alive right now, because I know he would see through all the propaganda that we've been living through, at least since 2015. But I want to just, before we start, I want to get this out there, because some people misunderstood my coverage of your appearance with Anderson Cooper, and they took it as an attack on you, when I was merely trying to help you get the message right about the Ukraine war. Because as a radical, part of your job is to educate people on what's actually happening, and you have to be crystal clear in explaining it to people, especially about what's happening in Ukraine. So
again, I don't know the whatever that he's talking about when he was reacting. I don't know what went on, but apparently, if you're not familiar, Cornel West is running for the Green Party, a third party, and it's basically because they're the same reason anyone runs third party, because they hate both major parties, and they think that at least if they can't win, that they can have an effect on how the race goes by pulling support one way or the other. And apparently, Jimmy Dore was trying to clean up the message from Cornel West. He was trying to make it sound better, and somehow that got turned into a feud. So they're here to settle that. Shout out to number one American Rob. Welcome to the party. Iris is on that tequila, says she's drinking good, doing good. Iris said, the Green Party dilutes the Dems. Yep, very, very true. We got Zippy the Strange in the building. Welcome to the party. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't see what was said. I didn't hear what was said, but whatever Cornel West was pushing forward, Jimmy Dore was saying, okay, I agree with you, but here's how you should say that instead. If you have not already, please do hit that like button.
People took that as me trying to attack you, when I was doing it more as a coach, trying to help you and get it right. And that's what I'm going to be doing in this interview also, because I was thrilled to hear that you're running third party. You got more courage than I do to do it. You're a better man than me. And so I appreciate you doing it, because you're getting the message out there about the Ukraine war, about the two-party duopoly. This is really important. And so if I just want to tell people, so if it seems like I'm being critical of Cornel West from here going forward to the election, what it is going to be is me trying to help make his message even better than it is, because I think it's really important that his message get out there. That's what this is about.
So the fact that Jimmy Dore's had to already say this twice just since we've started, and that it obviously wasn't clear when he originally did it, maybe that should be a sign to Jimmy Dore, like, this is not coming across the way that you want it to. It sounds like it's criticism, and maybe these people don't want your help, for better or for worse. Shout out to Habitat Farm. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Said, had to chime in. I can't stand Jimmy Dore. He is the same a-hole he was when he worked for the Young Turks. I admire Dr. West, even if I don't share all his political views. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I was alluding to just now, that if I was doing something like West is doing, if I was running a campaign and I was getting some criticism from somebody who says they support me, I would hope that it would be in the vein of it being obvious that you're trying to help. But so far, it seems like that it's not that that's not what Jimmy wants. But the fact that he has to preload this so much and already got it wrong the first time around, I'm even wondering if he is being genuine about that, or if he's trying to mess with the campaign here or something. But either way, welcome to the party, Habitat Farm.
So anyway, I just wanted to clear that up.
Oh, sure. I think the important thing always is, brother, that, you know, we the anthem of Black folk is lift every voice, not lift every echo. You got a voice. I've got a voice. Our voices overlap. Our voices can have tension. Our voices can conflict. We can learn from one another.
Hey, shout out to Hannah Dolly. Welcome to the party. I wish I had a bigger audience too. Share this ish everywhere. That's how it grows. Thank you so much for the kind words, and welcome to the party.
We proceed. We've got a similar critique of the predatory capitalist society. We've got similar critique of a whole host of issues, and certain things we disagree with. Well, that's understandable too. I'm learning from you, you learning from me. But it's the respect more than anything else.
So Habitat Farm says, Dore twists his words and pulls the whole Kathy Newman routine. So what you're saying is, you know, if you guys remember that when Jordan Peterson was on, I guess it was the BBC, and doing an interview with Kathy Newman, and he was doing exactly that. He would say, I think the sky is blue, okay? And then she's saying, so what you're saying is that anyone who thinks that the sky is not red is, or you know, something crazy like that. It's like, no, that's not at all what I said. And I guess that's what Habitat Farm is saying is going on here. So we'll keep a lookout for that. Thank you.
That's crucial here. And I think I appreciate you starting off with that kind of reflection, my brother. Very much so.
So now people make a big deal out of the fact that you endorsed Joe Biden in 2020, and now you're running against him. And the reason what was the reason you endorsed him in 2020, and what has changed since?
Yeah,
Orange man bad.
One, I was thoroughly convinced that we needed an anti-fascist coalition, and that included the kind of milquetoast warmongering neoliberals like Biden. And now it's fairly clear Biden had 4 years. He had 4 years is still the thunder from any kind of Trump challenge. 4 years to try to speak to the needs of poor and working people. 4 years to try to cut back on the military advance.
And he didn't do any of it. So people from all over the political spectrum are not happy with Joe Biden, in case you've been living under a rock.
That's been characteristic of his whole career. And it's clear to me now that if the only opposition to the escalating neo-fascism in the country is going to be Biden, or Biden-like, then the fascism's coming anyway. We're going to have alternative vision, alternative institutions, alternative infrastructure.
I lost my vape.
It has an alternative passion. And so if all we can do is produce democratic administrations that are caretakers, postponers of the Trump or Trump-like candidates, then the fascism's coming anyway. The only way you really get at the roots of fascism is to break from the corporate duopoly, to show how the two-party system is an impediment for the unleashing not only of American democracy, but also trying to dismantle the empire in terms of the 800 military units around the world and the military budget taking 57 cents for every dollar. And so in that sense, there's been a shift. There's no doubt about that. Now keep in mind, you know, I supported Ralph Nader and Jill Stein. And in between, I had early supported Bill Bradley, and I had supported John Kerry.
Yes, I mean, he has a long past of being that guy who is, you know, despite the fact that he is very liberal, he has a past of, you know, kind of going his own way and not just following the establishment. So, you know, I don't necessarily think that, you know, this idea of, oh, we had to, you know, prevent fascism and keep Orange Man bad out of the White House, so we just had to go with the warmongering neocon. That's, you know, I mean, I understand that. I understand that nobody willingly and lovingly threw their support behind Biden. But it just seems a little bit like it seems a little convenient that, oh, now that you've seen that he was going to be exactly what all of his detractors said he was going to be. And I'm like, well, you know, I could do better than that. No. Shout out to Daniel Cabrera. Welcome to the party, brother.
As a kind of anti right wing coalition too, so that my jazz-like activities certainly can be characterized at times with a certain kind of inconsistency, but it's the timing of it. Each moment has
it's the timing of it. Just saying.
Its own context.
So now our friend Nick Cruz says that many climate activists have no idea how much they destroyed all their credibility by endorsing and supporting Joe Biden, the Nord Stream pipeline bomber, and the largest eco-terrorist in modern human history, for president. Why?
So isn't that so interesting that, again, from both sides, the horseshoe effect, that Joe Biden is right there, and everybody, the further away you get from Joe Biden, whether it's the left or the right, you end up in this place where Joe Biden is the worst president ever. That's an accomplishment. I'm not even mad. Yeah, I'm definitely mad, but you know what I mean.
Why should anyone take climate or environmental issues seriously?
They shouldn't.
When you obviously do not. Now, what do you say back to that kind of critique that by endorsing him, you lose your credibility?
Well, it becomes, I mean, I think, you know, I've been on my dear brother's show a number of times, and I think there's always a certain force in the argument of trying to be consistently third party across the board, having no relation whatsoever to the bourgeois politicians.
Holy word salad. Holy word soup. So he's basically just saying there's this idea that you have to be third party because the establishment is so bad that even if, you know, like in his mind, he said he voted for Joe Biden in 2020 because he thought that despite the fact that he hates the uniparty, excuse me, that he still thought, you know, it doesn't make sense to just go third party for the sake of going third party, that he thought Biden was a better option. So, you know, some respect there for, you know, regardless of whether I agree with you or not, you at least are, you know, doing what you think is right and not depending on what other people think you should do or what you're supposed to do or anything like that.
I think there's force to that, but I think the credibility that one has really is holistic.
You all right, bro? What's going on?
It's wholesale rather than just retail. And the credibility that you have in regard to being consistently against war, consistently against capitalism, consistently against white supremacy, even if it has different kind of stances from one election to the next. That would be one of the ways in which I would try to respond to that. That would be the beginning of a response to that.
I'll be honest with you guys. I need to run that whole thing back. I have no idea what he just said.
You know, I've been on my dear brother's show a number of.
So yeah, the guy in the tweet here said, you know, back it up so we can even read it. Any climate activists have no idea how much they've destroyed their credibility by endorsing Joe Biden. So why should anybody take climate seriously if they're going to vote for somebody like Joe Biden? And then he was just asked for a response.
And I think there's always a certain force in the argument of trying to be consistently third party across the board, having no relation whatsoever to the bourgeois politicians.
So again, that was the part of like making, just being third party for the sake of being third party.
I think there's force to that.
I think there's force to that. What does that mean? I think there's force to that. Does anybody have any idea what that's supposed to mean?
But I think the credibility that one has really is.
So the credibility that somebody has is
holistic. It's wholesale rather than just retail.
So it's wholesale rather than retail. It means any credibility that they have is for them completely. Like you're either a credible person or you're not a credible person. Which again, I don't necessarily completely agree with, because there's things where you could have credibility in knowing X, Y, and Z, but you don't know A, B, and C. But all right, at least we're with what he's saying. So there's force in voting third party for the sake of voting third party, whatever that means. And then credibility is holistic. That's so far the only thing he said.
And the credibility that you have in regard to being consistently against war, consistently against capital, consistently against white supremacy.
I think you meant to say consistently against capitalism, but the credibility that you have being consistently against these things.
Even if it has different kind of stances from one election to the next. That would be one of the ways in which I would try to respond to that. That would be the beginning of a response to that.
No, it wouldn't. That's not a response to anything. The question was, how do you respond to what this person is saying? And then you said there's force in voting third party for the sake of voting third party. Credibility is holistic. And that would be a beginning to the response. Did I miss something?
Answers consistently against white supremacists, just retail.
So it's holistic. It's not just
and the credibility that you have in regard to being consistently against war, consistently against capital, consistently against white supremacy. So
the consistent that you have against capitalism and white supremacy is, or can be, or does, or what is? That's the subject of the sentence. Now you need to finish it.
Even if it has different kind of stances from one election to the next.
So meaning if it has different stances, whether it's third party this election or Democrats that election and the Republicans, the type of credibility to stand against those things.
That would be one of the ways in which I would try to respond to that. That would be the beginning of a response to that.
Okay.
Jimmy's like what did he just say?
Hey, here's another tweet from Nick. He says the same professional managerial class gaslighters want us to take it easy on Bernie. They use civility politics as a weapon so they can comfortably sell out. The working class must reject this and start holding these people accountable for selling us out. So Bernie has sold us out, and I don't need you to call him a sellout or anything. That's fine. But I do want to see, this is your response.
Hey, shout out to Indyville. Welcome to the party, brother.
Because Bernie.
So we're just going to move on? We're just going to waste that all of that is just nothingness? He said that credibility is holistic, and if you're consistently against these things, and that's the way I would start to answer this? What? Okay, all right.
Was asked about your campaign, and he said it shouldn't happen, and he's against it, and he's endorsing Biden, and of course, that is just garbage. And so this is how you responded.
So this is him. Looks like Cornel West on the Breakfast Club.
You know, even in love, people have deep disagreements about these things. But I think again, he's fearful of the neo-fascism of Trump.
So when my what I would say to you here, and this is a big point, and I'm trying to impress upon you going forward.
All right.
That when you do that, you sound a little bit like Joe Biden, and what you're doing is you're giving a pass to Bernie Sanders and anybody else for voting lesser of two evils. So you're endorsing the Democrats' message in their campaign. And so now people can dismiss your candidacy and say, well, we got to worry about the neo-fascism of Trump, as if Joe Biden isn't worse.
First of all, based. And second of all, absolutely right. You can't be saying like, you can't be playing the orange man bad, orange man bad, orange man bad, but vote for me. That those two things don't go together. If Orange Man is so bad, if he's such a neo-fascist, if we're really getting into this authoritarian, hellscape, then this is not the time to play around with third party this, that, and the other. That is precisely the line of thinking that got me to vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016. I was terrified. Exactly what they're saying about Joe Biden versus Trump now. That, okay, well, he's terrible. He's a warmonger, all those kinds of things, but at least he's not Trump. That was precisely the propaganda that they were using. And so now Jimmy's saying, it worked for Trump one time. Why wouldn't it work again?
Which he is. He's a bigger fascist.
Let's just hear that. Hear him say it.
Can dismiss your candidacy and say, well, we got to worry about the neo-fascism of Trump, as if Joe Biden isn't worse. Which he is. He's a bigger fascist, and he just crushed a union strike on the railroad, which is the definition of fascism.
Hey, shout out to Tony Brasunas. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. Welcome. Tony says, well put here. Yes, does Cornel West really not get this, or does he pretend not to understand it? I'm really not sure because from everything that I've seen from him, even when I was a liberal, I think I was introduced to him through Real Time with Bill Maher. And he always has this way of speaking almost like a preacher where, there's a lot of fluff. And then he uses a lot of buzzwords. So it kind of seems like he knows what he's talking about. But I'm not sure if he's just meandering in his own mind, or if he's like, I don't know how to answer that. Let me go on this, this diatribe of whatever. I don't know. I do not know either. But welcome, Tony. Welcome to the party. Sibby says, why is the hellscape we are heading to? Why is the hellscape we are heading to? Come on, bro.
He's now trying to saber rattle with two nuclear powers, nuclear war, nothing more important than that. And what he's doing in Ukraine, you know exactly what he's doing, right? So he's the worst warmonger in the world. 300,000 Ukrainians have already been slaughtered in this proxy war that was provoked by NATO, which you know. Mm-hmm. So
shout out to Ashit Patel. Welcome to the party. Said Cornel West is like if you were to combine Al Sharpton with Don King. Oh my goodness. That's a good one. I like that. We are starring that comment of the night so far. Welcome to the party.
So when do you think that when you say that about when you call Donald Trump a neo-fascist and you don't say that about Joe Biden, what do you say when I tell you that you're undercutting your own campaign and you are propping up the Democratic message, which is that they are the lesser of two evil and you have to vote for Joe Biden so we don't have fascism. By the way, we already have fascism. As we all know, the fascism is the joining of corporate and government to screw the worker.
Yep. Shout out to Ziggs. Welcome. Say, why does he sound like he's in a Django movie? Yeah, he's just always talked like that. He's just, I think that's what intellectualism and academia, when you spend your entire life with your nose in a book, and your residence on a university grounds, I think that's just what happens.
And that's exactly what Joe Biden, the Democrats, and Pete Buttigieg did. And so they will keep doing it, and they're not stopping it. And they're also for censorship, which is the hallmark of fascism. So this idea that
this is quite a long question, Jimmy. This is quite a long question.
Donald Trump is more of a fascist than Joe Biden undermines your own campaign. There's no doubt about that. And so what I would encourage you to stop doing that. What do you say back?
So remember that Jimmy said all of this is about how much he loves Cornel West, how much he wants Cornel West to go as far as possible. And this is all to help him.
Hey, no, we.
And you know what? Well, we're up here, guys. Come on. You know you want that party to be raging. Take that share button, slap it, and plaster this everywhere so we can get the party raging.
We deeply disagree on that, though, brother. I don't think, and this is where I disagree with Nick too, that, and I appreciate your advice here, you know, cast in a respectful way, but we do, and I disagree with Brother Nick on this too, that man, I just got back from Mississippi. You know that. You know what the Jenkins and Parkins, the two brothers brutalized by the police. There at the church, the Klan still running wild, not just with votes, but terrorizing black folk. The goon squad finally got caught by.
I thought you were talking about what happened coming back from Missouri or Mississippi or whatever. Now you're talking about the goon squad?
Two lawyers, Brother Malik and Brother Trent. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you talk about fascism, you're talking not just about the rule of big money.
No. We're gonna go back through this. This is becoming clearer, a lot clearer. As Tony was saying, is he pretending to not get this, or is he pretending to like? Okay, we're gonna go through this like we did before.
Folk, the goons still right back. This no.
I would encourage you to stop doing that. What do you say?
So the prompt is, I would encourage you to stop saying orange man bad, because that leads people to want to vote for Biden instead of feel like, well, you know, a third party might be a reasonable option. That is the prompt. So let's see what he is actually saying and what he's trying to say.
Back.
Hey, no, we deeply disagree on that, though, brother.
Okay, so that's the only clear thing that he said, that we disagree. That's going to hurt you. Okay. Hey, shout out to Guantec. Welcome to the party. So Jimmy be looking bored. Don't you worry. It is gonna heat up. Yeah, right.
I don't think, and this is where I disagree with Nick too.
Okay, so he disagrees with Jimmy and with Nick.
That, and I appreciate your advice here. You know,
okay, he appreciates the advice, but he disagrees.
Cast in a respectful way, but we do, and I disagree with Brother Nick on this too.
You already said that.
That man, I just got back from Mississippi. You know that.
Okay, so you just got back from Mississippi. So the assumption is that whatever happened in Mississippi is going to be relevant to the question or the prompt that was given to you. That how do you respond to saying orange man bad is going to push people to vote for Biden. So he disagrees. He appreciates the criticism that it's respectful, and now he just got back from Mississippi.
You know what the Jenkins and Parkins, the two brothers brutalized by the police.
Okay, we got to get details about them.
The Klan still running wild, not just with votes, but terrorizing black folk. The goon squad finally got caught by the two lawyers, Brother Malik and Brother Trent. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you talk about fascism.
Wait. What does what mean? What does what mean? That people got arrested? And when you're talking about fascism, the question was about you saying orange man bad. Johnny says, I don't doubt Dr. West's intelligence. He's smart for sure. I used to love him, but now I doubt what he stands for what he says. Well said, sir. Well said, sir. I completely agree. I think that, it might just be, my maturation. It might be my previous ignorance. It might be my current ignorance. But I completely agree with Tony that it used to be, even though he was kind of meandering, when he would talk, he would have a message and you would be able to grab onto that message. And now I'm not even sure what he stands for, much less if what he actually stands for what he says. This is really weird. He also thinks fascists are white supremacists, but his fascists are okay. Rules for thee, but not for me. So, okay, we've gone, he went to, so remember, orange man bad is bad for you. What do you say to that? I disagree. I respect you. I just got back from Mississippi. These boys, Brother Trenton, Brother whatever. And you know what that means? When we talk about fascism, when we talk about fascism, what?
You're talking not just about the rule of big money, not just the rule of big military, not just the rule of corporate power, so that it's oligarchic in essence, but you're also talking about dictatorial rule, no elections, the elimination of dissident voices.
So he's just saying, like, okay, this is what a dystopian future with fascism would be.
And then the scapegoating of the most vulnerable, which could be immigrants, it could be workers, it could be Black people, Jews, Arabs, and so forth. See, with under Biden.
So again, the prompt was, if you keep saying orange man bad, it's going to push people to vote for Biden. How do you respond?
What you have is a fascist dimension domestically, especially against Black folk and others. You and I, the very fact that we're having this dialogue without being eliminated overnight.
What would you be eliminated overnight for? You're literally not even saying anything.
Fascist regime could completely call into question with the use of arbitrary power. That's what
I call into question with my arbitrary power. What are you talking about?
What happens in the mass incarceration regime vis-a-vis poor Black people and others. Right. So that is the fascist dimension. Similarly, so in terms of militarism abroad, so that there's fascist elements, my brother, there's fascist dimensions. But with Trump, when you have calling into question transfer of power and so forth, that is not the same thing. And so that
it's fascism, but it's a different kind of fascism. That's what he just said. That was that whole thing about going down to Mississippi, and you know what that means when we talk about fascism. It's not just capital, it's not just it's just you're just saying things, bro. As Jimmy said, dude had too much weed, and I mean, yeah, pretty much. That's what it sounds like. Indie Film said he's a dumb grifter. Maybe we should put him in a room with Kamala for 24 hours and just see what happens. I don't know if they would make it out alive. Welcome to Rabbi Glickman. Welcome to the party. Said if this isn't a simpleton's argument, then I don't know what is. Yeah, I agree. Welcome.
That doesn't undermine my campaign at all. The
100%.
campaign's about truth.
100%.
Wait, let's catch that last part again. Because the disagreement is with the original thing. Jimmy's saying to Wes, if you keep doing this orange man bad thing, you're pushing people to vote for Biden. He just disagrees with that. That was just that's all that was.
The question transfer of power and so forth, that is not the same thing. And so that doesn't undermine my campaign at all. The campaign's about truth.
100% undermines your campaign. 100%.
It absolutely does. Like I said, this is the logic that had me looking, and I was a Bernie bro. I was riding hard for Bernie. And then the DNC screwed him over. But because of exactly what West is saying now, exactly what the MSNBC, even Fox News people, all of them were saying at the time about Trump, is precisely why I felt like I had to vote for her. So I don't know why he thinks it's any different.
You're shooting yourself right in the dick before you even start. So that's just bad. You're getting bad advice. I don't know who's advising you, but they're giving you horrible advice.
January. I'm a free man.
Okay.
Bro.
Well, maybe you should get a what do they call it? A campaign supervisor, or what do they call that shit? Like, maybe you should be talking to somebody because you're literally making the same mistakes from the first time around.
So January.
But I want to hear your argument. I want to hear your argument as to how Biden is more fascist than Trump.
Ooh, you guys ready for this one? Hey, shout out to Elijah Bisbee. Welcome to the party. Said what's funny is that both of them think that fascism comes from the corporations influencing the government, not from the government influencing and controlling the corporations. That's a good point. That is a great point. I didn't even think of that. Exactly. They're talking about it the other way around. The whole idea is that it's bad when the corporations are the ones that have all this influence. Good point. Welcome to the party, Elijah. Zig said he sounds like Eddie Murphy in the movie Life, the Upper Room. Never saw it, but I'm sure it's funny. Zippy says he's talking to the same people DeSantis is and was. True. What wars did Trump oversee? None. Well, I don't know why I did that, but like none, which is good. But So we all know, if you're not familiar, that Jimmy Dore is not a fan of Joe Biden. And he just got teed up. Look at you see what this face is? This face is, oh, did you really just ask me such a juicy question that I'm going to be able to fire off? I'm going to be able to cook on this. How is Biden more fascist than Trump?
Just lay it out right quick.
Lay it out.
I'll tell you right now, the reason why the deep state Russiagated Trump was because he wouldn't bomb enough to calm them down. So he wouldn't do enough bombing. The reason they impeached him because he wouldn't ship arms to Nazis in Ukraine. And he was against that. So that's
just are you defending Trump as somehow being a person who is? I don't understand. I don't understand your.
I don't understand. Are you saying that Trump, the orange guy, right? Trump is somebody who could do something that's good. I'm lost here. What's going on? Shout out to Jamal Suggs. Welcome to the party. The Boom Boom Room. That sounds a little bit more familiar. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but welcome to the party. We got two lefties arguing over how fascist Biden or Trump is. Yeah, Trump indeed is a person.
Argument at this point, though, man. What are we talking about?
Okay, so there's
plenty more.
I want to understand what the content of your argument is. Because
the content of the argument is that both of these people are not nice people. They both have done things to get themselves in a position to do what they want in politics. But Biden has done things that spread way, way further. Even if the things that has come out of Trump's mouth haven't been as nice, Biden is way, way worse. Zippy says the market controls the government as government caters to wealth to supposedly create more wealth. Yep.
Because one can, in fact, bring critique to bear on the system as a whole with the two corporate wings, but somehow, what do you say to trans and gays and lesbian brothers and sisters in terms of their rights?
Where did that come from? All right, now I guess we're talking about the alphabet community.
So that's again, Joe Biden is responsible for the mass incarceration, not Donald Trump. Who is more responsible for black and brown people being locked up and America being the largest penal colony in the world? Is it Donald Trump or would it be Joe Biden? By the way, this conversation is a loser for your campaign.
Facts. And I mean, again, we if we remember that we're talking about this from a left-wing perspective, then the 94 crime bill is like the worst thing that has ever happened. And there's arguments there, and Destiny was just talking about this on the middle ground thing, that like that was a bipartisan bill. Like crime was bad at those times, but they now get to pull this out and talk about how racist Biden is. So I'm here for it. Indy Villain says, do you need any more proof that this guy is not smart and just a grifter? Well, again, I need more proof that he's not smart. I don't know that he is not playing dumb because he is grifting. There's a difference, and I'm just not sure yet. Context said, what the hell is he even on about? That came out of nowhere. That's what the grifters do. They will somehow make the conversation what they want it to be because that's the only thing that they know how to talk about. Six said, ladies and gentlemen, we now have the green pill. Cornel West with the green pill.
Sitting here trying to make the argument.
It could be a loser for you too, though.
Trying to make the argument.
But you trying to make the case that somehow the Democrats are more fascist than the Republicans.
Yes, the Democrats are more fascist than the Republicans. Correct. You have understood the argument. Welcome to the conversation.
The fascism cuts across the board. But
that's not how.
That's exactly. You see exactly what's going to happen. If you know me well enough, you know that me and Jimmy are having the exact same thought right now. Let's listen to what he said.
How the Democrats are more fascist than the Republicans. The fascism cuts across the board.
The fascism cuts across the board. Precisely, sir. So if you're saying one side is worse, then the conclusion is, well, I better go with the other side. If you're saying this is so bad, then what is a Green Party vote gonna do? And this is, I bet you, this is exactly where Jimmy goes with it.
But that's not how you say it, though. You say it's only Donald Trump. You don't say it cuts across the board.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Because I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago.
It's too easy. It's too easy. They're going to make Disney by Hulu. Who? What? Oh, them? Yeah. Oh, this is... It gets good. It gets good. Gontex, I hope this is just another nail in the coffin for Disney. They need to shape up fast. True. Zig says they're both fascist. Both have some authoritarian policies. Precisely. And so that's what Jimmy's trying to say, is that, yes, I agree with you. But by focusing on one party, even if even if we disagree that one is worse than the other, by using this type of rhetoric, you are driving people to think in that status quo, left or right, lesser of two evils type of way. That's precisely Jimmy's point.
You called Joe Biden milquetoast, and you called Donald Trump a fascist.
Yeah. So if you're saying there's fascism all over the place, but when it comes to fascism, Biden's only here and Trump's way over here, up here. One other conclusion is there than to say, okay, well, he's fascist and he's a milquetoast, but this is the landscape that we have. So I better do what I can to make sure that even if since we're going to have fascism, then I don't want it to be the worst kind of fascism there is. And in this context, that means casting a vote for Joe Biden, the octogenarian. Shooting yourself in the dick. Exactly what Jimmy said. Rabbi said, people confusing authoritarian communism with fascism is cringe. So, when on the cultural left, these kind of things are all really the same. They don't mean anything. They just mean bad. That's all that authoritarian, not communist, but authoritarian, fascist, dictator, these things just mean bad. It doesn't go any deeper than that.
So you're not saying Joe Biden is a fascist, really?
I said there's fascist dimensions to the Biden project.
I didn't say he wasn't a fascist. There's just fascist dimensions.
What? Absolutely right.
It's like you're campaigning for Joe Biden almost when you're doing this. That's what it sounds like.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
But that's what I'm not saying you are doing that. I'm saying that's what it sounds like.
And he's right. Again, he's right. As I've explained many times, this is the precise logic that led me to feel that when it was a horrible Democrat and Donald Trump, that I had to vote for the horrible Democrat. Daniel says they're boogeyman BS words. Yeah, the boogeyman. Zippy says to Rabbi, comrade, one cannot have communism without authoritarianism. True.
What it sounds like to you. That's what it sounds like to you.
Yes, bro. What? That's what it sounds like to you. I don't care what you think. I just care about what people who can vote think. Can you vote, Jimmy? Oh, you can vote? Oh, okay, then maybe I should care about what you're saying.
And you got a right to be wrong. You got a right to be right. It sounds like to you. But it doesn't sound like that to a whole host of others at all, though, brother. Not at all.
All right. Again, I'm saying this out of love for you because I do have deep love for you. I have deep respect for you. And we agree on almost everything except
for the fact that you would make a good president. Gontex, can you imagine Biden debating Cornel? One old man yell lying and one man of ramble lying. Lots of lies and zero fun. Yeah, if Trump's not in a debate, then Vivek kind of pulled his weight in the GOP debate. But if Trump ain't there, is it really a debate? Come on now. Come on. Rabbi says that's because people will always reject it. Yes. Jimmy was talking West up big a few weeks ago. Well, that's exactly what's going on here, is that Jimmy is trying to boost West's profile. He's trying to help him. He's telling him, hey, I want you to win. I like your principles. I like what you stand for. I agree that both parties suck, so on and so forth. Obviously, they're coming at that from a left, a left-wing position, whereas we would look at it more from further right. But I want you to win. He's still saying that right now. He just said that. But West isn't listening. He's like, oh, well, it sounds like that to you. Like, what do you know? And instead of saying, okay, interesting. Do you see how when I say this, it actually means that? And that's why most people are going to understand it the way that I want. Or, okay, what should I say if I mean this, but people are understanding that? What is it that I should say? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what is in your head. It matters what's in their heads. It matters what you put in their heads. But listen to him again. He just said it.
All right. Again, I'm saying this out of love for you because I do have deep love for you. I have deep respect for you. And we agree on almost everything except the message of your campaign, right? That's the only thing. I would hope it would become even more focal. Let me just put it this way.
But are you suggesting that the message should be that Biden is a greater fascist than Trump? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that you should talk about fascism or any of that stuff. I think you should.
No, but fascism is very real. I think you don't think fascism is real in the country?
We're living in it. We're living in fascism.
But I'm talking about escalating in terms of intensity.
It has since Biden became president. It certainly has escalated in intensity.
Based. But either way, I think what Jimmy is saying here is that regardless of whether or not fascism has increased, is that this idea about fascist versus not fascist versus more fascist versus less fascist is not a winning ticket. You need to come at it from a different angle. Otherwise, like he said, you're just campaigning for the non-fascist that people have in their heads. That's all that he's saying. And Wes is being really thick about this. So again, now I'm still questioning the intelligence level, but I'm also questioning the ego level. Because he could definitely have this could be more of an ego thing than an intelligence thing. Quamtech says Cornel is too busy with his TDS to realize Jimmy is trying to help him. Yep. Rabbi Gleckman says, what does it say about the Green Party when West is their top candidate? Yeah. It's the Wild West, right? Cornel and Yay 2024, they would get a grand total of 7 votes worldwide or countrywide.
They've censored everybody. They've crushed unions. They've started another war, and now they're saber rattling with 2 nuclear powers. I don't know how I don't know how worse it could get. And by the way, he still hasn't let people out of prison. He still hasn't given student loan. He's still denying us health care. He's an enemy of the worker and a tool of military-industrial complex.
I mean, I don't even want all of those things. But as somebody who promised them and does want them, Jimmy's spot on. He is spot on. All of these things. Listen, I mean, he just firing them out. I mean, it's insane that you could be that flabbergasted with the idea that Joe Biden, the career politician, could be more corrupt than Donald Trump. I'm not saying you have to agree with it, but to be unable to grapple with the conversation? Come on, man. Indie Film says, remember when anything violent that even smelled of racism would happen? The left would say, this is Trump's America. Partridge Farm remembers.
In Wall Street, there's no bigger fact.
Wait, I want to hear this one again, Mel, because he just
unions talk about fascism or any of that stuff. I think you should.
No, fascism is very real.
I think.
Facts, Rabbi. He is basically a male version of Maxine Waters.
Oh, I think fascism is real in the country.
We're living in it. We're living in fascism.
But I'm talking about escalating in terms of intensity.
It has since Biden became president. It certainly has escalated in intensity. They've censored everybody. They've crushed unions. They've started another war, and now they're saber rattling with 2 nuclear powers. I don't know how I don't know how worse it could get. And by the way, he still hasn't let people out of prison. He still hasn't given student loan. He's still denying us health care. He's an enemy of the worker and a tool of military-industrial complex.
Damn! Again, even if you don't want all of these things, even if you don't like Biden, the fact is that all the people on that side, they begrudging. I'm so glad I didn't vote in 2020. Because I really, honestly, I don't know where I would have voted. Trump genuinely had not won me over. And if I felt like I had to vote regardless, then I don't know. But All I'm saying is the feeling that I had after I cast a vote for Hillary Clinton, it was horrible. It was horrible. I knew I'd been bamboozled. I didn't realize to what degree, but I knew that I'd been bamboozled. And yet, here is somebody trying to help you not make the same mistake, not do that over, to however many millions of people. And you're spitting in his face. He's spitting in his face. Pepperidge Farm. There you go. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Pepperidge Farm remembers back when it was Pepperidge Farm before it was Patridge Farms. We try to work with it. All right. It's a live show. We go. We running it. Welcome to the party, brother. Gone Sex, no matter how smart you are, TDS will immediately dock you at least 20 IQ points. Yeah, I mean, this is what dogma does. This is what dogma does. It is the only thing that can take down, the intelligence level of somebody who would otherwise be able to see this in a rational, logical way. This is dogma. TDS is dogma. This is what dogma does.
Wall Street. There's no bigger fascist in the country than Joe Biden. The reason why black and brown people are locked up again isn't because of Trump. It's because of brother Biden. And Joe Biden.
He called him brother Biden.
He's proud of that. He brags about that. He brags about the crime bill, and he will never apologize for it. So I'm just letting you know that I really want your campaign to pick up traction. This is the opposite way to do it. Who's ever advising you sounds like an infiltrator.
But why you keep saying advise me? I'm thinking for myself, brother. I'm a free.
Again, then maybe it sounds like you need to get a team around you, because thinking for yourself is very one track. It's very one track, and it's not working. If it was working, then, whatever. But has anybody ever just gone and ran for president and done everything on their own before? Even Trump, of all people, he didn't even have the greatest people around him. I do have the greatest people, but he had people around him. Context Sonoma. Oh yeah, we got that one. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't mean to insult you. That's not
just a question of advising.
Okay.
I don't ask who's advising you. You think of yourself. You're a free man too, aren't you?
You're right. You're right. Okay. I was trying to put it in a nice way.
I use that kind of language, my brother. You want to be respectful.
I'm trying to be respectful. That was my.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I know it look like it's hard sometimes, but I appreciate it. But we just have disagreements on these things.
Again,
undermining.
But this is going back that rhetoric. Oh, well, we just have disagreements. We're just two men talking, But you haven't said anything. You haven't said anything. How did this start? With him saying, I think when you do this, you're pushing people into the arms of Biden. Then he went on this long diatribe that basically meant, nuh-uh. Then he said, what? You think you think Biden is worse than Trump? And then Jimmy lists off a bunch of things. And like, well, we can have disagreements on these things. On what things?
If I undermine the campaign for you, then you're free to have your own view and vision.
Okay.
And people are free to listen to you and be persuaded or not. And I've got mine. I'm listening for your insight. Absolutely right. No doubt about that.
So let me just.
Are you, though? Are you really listening for insight? Because it doesn't sound like it.
Say this. So the point of running a third-party campaign is to offer an alternative to the two major parties, to bring together disaffected members of those parties, along with independents and others who feel alienated from the political system as it exists.
Exactly. That is that's the role that's supposed to do. If you're even, if you want to count libertarian as third party as well, that's fine, because that fits that as well. We have a system where it's Democrat and Republican. So any other party is you can make your own party. It's just, obviously you have to get the numbers. And so you can't get the numbers. So nobody tries, but there's always, a reason to start that up. And any election can be the election where a third party really does get enough momentum, if not to change things. Think about was it Ross Perot, or even win. It's not impossible, but it has to be done it has to be done the right way, and it has to be done in a way that's not exactly like the Democrats and the Republicans. That's not going to do anything for you.
Best way to do this is by running on economic issues that unite us, but which neither major party is willing to address because
instead of trying to take the culture war and attach yourself to one side of it, but also say, no, but that side's bad and almost as bad as the other side, but not as bad as me, but that is a very confusing, convoluted message. If you talk about the actual issues that everybody agrees with, we want more money in our pockets. We want lower tax rates. We want gas prices going down, stuff like that. Then maybe you have a chance. Then maybe you deserve some of our attention. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, that we are in the attention economy. As if elections weren't already just a popularity contest. We now have everything else online to take up our attention. And so if you want me to listen to what you have to say, you have to earn it. In the same way that I'm not entitled to you guys being here. I'm very thankful that you guys are here to listen to what I have to say because I know there's a million other things that you could be doing. He doesn't seem to think that applies to him. I could just, brother, I was talking to Brother Bob and Brother Ricky said, over in the disagreements, back in Mississippi where there was the two brothers who did this. And, I was thinking about it. Like, what? Come on, bro. Say a thing. Do something. Comtech says, people might hate this, but I really want to see Vivek and Tulsi RFK make a third party. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. I would love to get them all in a room together and just see what that dynamic would be like. Like, let's have a culture war episode of just that. Like, it doesn't even have to be about, the election or anything like that. It could just be like, just to hear them talk. I think that would be cool.
They're both beholden to the same powerful corporate interests. The Democratic Party long ago abandoned the working.
Let's not cut this off because he's reading off what I don't know exactly where it comes from, but talking about the point of running a third-party campaign.
About that.
So let me just say this. So the point of running a third-party campaign is to offer an alternative to the two major parties, to bring together disaffected members of those parties, along with independents and others who feel alienated from the political system as it exists. And the best way to do this is by running on economic issues that unite us, but which neither major party is willing to address because they're both beholden to the same powerful corporate interests. The Democratic Party long ago abandoned the working class in favor of beating the drum on cultural issues, and now that's all the Democrats have to run on.
That's also why this new conservative movement, this America First, or whatever you want to call it, that's not the rhinos, that's why it exists. Because the Democrats abandoned everything that they stood for. And then everything was about gay and race and this and that. And it was people like me who, again, I was a default liberal. I wasn't, you guys, the Democrats or all of them, all of the Democrats and the Republicans were doing a good enough job at their jobs that as a teenager, I didn't have to think about politics. It was taken care of. And things weren't perfect, far from it. But I didn't have to think about it in my everyday life. Of course, the Zoomers and Gen Alpha, they don't get that privilege today. But they abandoned everything to make it about these very few select issues, and then made it such a tight-knit club that if you're not towing the exact party line, then you're on the other team. And so there's a lot of people like me who would never have thought that they would be a registered Republican. But because that's all there is to the Democrats, they're paper thin. There's nothing to that platform. And so it by default, it means that at least one part of being a Republican in 2023, 2024 means that you stand for something. Exactly, Daniel. It means that you stand for something because they stand for nothing, which is why they are falling. But exactly my point. Exactly. You're spot on, Daniel. That just having principles, thinking that there should be something that is right and wrong, in and of itself has become antithetical to the Democrats. And then they wonder why they're falling.
So if voters are looking for a party running on trans rights and calling Donald Trump and his supporters white supremacists, they can already vote for Democrats. The role of a third party is to focus not on the identity politics that divide us, but on core economic issues that unite us along class lines, like Christian Smalls did at Staten Island. Do you think he led with LGBTQ trans rights and white supremacy, or do you think he organized along class lines? That's what we have to do. You have to organize, meet people where they are. So what is your
meet people where they are? Meet people where they are. This is what you need to do. It's very clear. What did I say earlier about the way that he talks? Maybe it's from spending all of your time with your nose in a book and your feet on a college campus. You need to get out. You need to talk to people. You need to understand what the people actually want. And it's not this wokeness garbage. It's just not. Like said, can't believe Letch was such an I'm with her. Yep, that was me. That was me. And the reason I'm so open about telling you that is, number one, I would hate to have that be a secret. And everybody's like, wait a minute. We just pulled Letch's records. He voted for Hillary. Like, yeah, no, I don't need that. But I also am not as ashamed as I am. It's a big part of who I am and the ways that I think today. The only reason that I can tell you that Jimmy Dore is exactly right in what he's telling West about his message is because I had fallen for that same message however many years ago. I'm with her lately. That's how retarded you have to be to come on. Where is it? That's how retarded you have to be to vote for her. I'm with her. All right. I was gonna. Well, nobody saw that. Much is honest and not gay. True. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, but I happen not to be. True. Thank you.
Your plan to organize?
I want to back that up. Just.
See, or do you think he organized along class lines?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to do. You have to organize, meet people where they are. So what is your plan to organize along class lines? Or are you going to keep talking about white supremacy and all those identity politics, which are there, not from the ground up, from the top down, to make sure we stay divided? What is your plan to organize along class lines?
Woo! What is your plan to organize along class lines? That has always and only ever been what we've wanted. We, the people, have wanted you to address us based on where we are in life, not who we are intrinsically because of the color of our skin or who we want to have sex with or any of those things. It's not that complicated. Yet, once again, we have somebody who is trying to play the same old game, and not just play the same old game, but act like they're coming with a brand new game. It's the same thing. Daniel says, I didn't vote for Biden, which makes me very comfortable saying I voted for Hillary because my vote didn't lead to the country to shit. Yeah, that's exactly why I didn't vote in 2020 because I was like, all right, I made a mistake. And I still was not, super happy with Trump. So I was like, all right, then, I'll stand back. And I'm very glad that I did. Now, would my one vote for Trump, if I had voted for Trump, would that have helped? Probably not. So I don't really have to think about that. But at the end of the day, it's your vote. You have to treat it as such. It is your vote. You are the one who decides. And if we have the societal norm that your vote is not worth anything, that you can just toss it away, then that's how people are going to operate. But if we behave in such a way that we value our vote and we're not just going to give it away, that we're only going to give it to somebody who has earned it, then maybe that will change the behavior of the people who are trying to get the vote. In case you forgot, we are the ones in charge.
Well, I appreciate again the clarity and candor of what you have to say. We have profound disagreements, brother. When I organized around white supremacy. I'm not making some utilitarian calculation. I'm speaking as a black man who comes out of a tradition that's been terrorized and traumatized by white elites. And that does not in any way mean it takes me away from class issue. Class
kind of does though, because you can't be 100% about class issues if you're also about racial issues, because those are conflicting, because there are people who are in the same class who are not in the same race. So you got to pick one.
Class issues are crucial. Class issues are fundamental, but it doesn't mean that I'm putting up with white supremacy. One of the problems.
What white supremacy? What white supremacy are we talking about? Please explain to me what you think that on any level of national importance, what white supremacy are you talking about? The elites. Yeah, that's them.
Is that you get too many folk who want to talk class, and can't say my mumbling word about white supremacy, police brutality. Can't say a mumbling word hardly. Or when they do say it, you call it identity politics as if it's not.
It is identity politics. What do you mean? What do you mean? How dare you call the thing the thing?
How dare you?
Connected to class. I'm hitting these head on. I'm standing with the workers when it comes to strikes. I'm standing with the workers.
Look at Jimmy's face.
When it comes to greedy bosses. I'm standing with the workers when it comes to obsession with profits and the needs not in any way being satisfied. But I'll never for a minute be silent. I'm not or not raising my voice in terms of vicious treatment of black people, indigenous people, gay.
Then you don't deserve to be president. That's the long and short of it. If this is such an important thing to you, which I applaud, if you do care that much about it and are willing to stand on what you stand on what you say, if you're willing to die on that hill, round of applause for having that stick-to-itiveness. But unfortunately, for your cause, white supremacy is not a big issue in America. So if you're running on this and that's your top thing, then you don't deserve to be my president. There was a weed party and a soccer party when South Africa had their elections. Well, I'm down to bring that up here.
Brothers, lesbians, sisters, or trans. It's not an either or. And that's where you and I have a deep, profound disappointment. So if I see, for example, if I watch your show and I notice you hardly say a mumbling word about white supremacy because it's some kind of identity politics and I'm against it, but I don't want to talk about it. I only want to talk about what people hold in common. Well, black people are not going to hold it in common if you don't say a word about white supremacy, but maybe some of your white friends will. So who are you talking?
So if you don't talk about white supremacy, then you also can't talk about the things that we have in common because, that's bullshit. Gotcha.
About me talking about in common. Are you talking about just the majority or what, my dear brother? I will never, ever in a million years not talk about vicious legacies of white supremacy, male supremacy, homophobia, transphobia, and others.
Then again, I will say, you do not deserve to be the president of America. If you cannot talk about the policies that actually affect most Americans, then you do not deserve to be our leader.
But class will always be very much at the center. What brings you and I together is what? Our fundamental solidarity with working classes, not just here, but around the world.
Shout out to Ayush. Welcome to the party. Yes, sir. I did say stick-to-itiveness. Is that not a real word? I've heard that all the time. It might not be, but you know what I meant. So don't be a bitch.
But oftentimes when I hear about your show, and you say, well, these identity politics issues get in the way. No, it's 100%. Not getting in the way. They're not getting in the way.
100%. They're used by the Democrats. That's all they have to run on. And when you say that stuff, you just sound like a Democrat because that's all.
Exactly right. Exactly. And Guam Tech. One thing the hell was that? One thing black, white, and brown people have in common: high-ass grocery bills. That is a class issue. Talking about even if you want to talk about like tax stuff, which is not, as sexy as transphobia and white supremacy and this and that, whatever. That's at least something that affects people. The dinner table issues. It's the economy, stupid. But you're so up on your high horse. Well, I'm a black man, so I have to make everything always about white supremacy. And, you know, since I'm a minority, then I have to make sure that every other minority feels like they're minorized and victimized. Otherwise, I don't know where I was going with that. But it's like, come on, bro. Give it a rest. He said, would help if there was more white supremacy than not white supremacy these days. It would help. It would help him. He would love more white supremacy because then he would be relevant. Unfortunately,
they have. So if
exactly
you
wrong.
need,
if the talk about the dignity of black people in the face of vicious white supremacy makes me sound like a Democrat, you got the wrong earplug.
Okay.
No, that's not how this works. You don't get to tell people how they interpret your words. You can try to explain, but if you said a thing and then everybody's like, did you just say ABC? And then ABC meaning, oh, something I don't like. And they're like, no, I did say ABC, but you have the wrong understanding. Well, okay, but then clarify it. Don't just tell me I'm wrong, because then you just sound like a dick.
You're not listening clearly.
Oh, now we're not listening. Now it's our fault that your convoluted message about white supremacy doesn't factor in class issues. Got it. Okay. Now you really sound like a Democrat.
Because if you can't hear the critique of Wall Street, if you can't hear the critique of militarism, if you can't hear the critique of his foreign policy in Ukraine, and all you can hear when they talk about white supremacy is identity politics, then something's wrong with your earplug, though, bro. Something's wrong with you. We can have deep disagreement with that, but
it's disappointing.
It is disappointing. It's disappointing to, and I don't care one way or the other what happens to Cornel West's career. Like, not that I want anything bad to happen, but you know, I don't have the dog in the fight. It's not about the race. It's not about the politics of the situation. You know that when we are covering something, I want to look at it almost in a vacuum, or at least at parts. And what we're watching is a man who is coming to another man who has a lot of respect. Jimmy has a lot of respect for Cornel West. He's said that many times. He's trying to help him in this big, event that he's trying to do in his life. This big task. And he's just not willing to listen. You have the wrong ears.
What?
Okay. You got my vote. Zippy said he should ask, so what's up with you supporting Nazis in Ukraine? Yeah. Context said TDS and white supremacy is Cornel's wrestling earplug. I don't know what that is, but pretty much.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And what it is a country that doesn't really have to worry about white supremacy.
You are profoundly disappointing in that sense. But if I still...
Jimmy said early on, this what he's doing in this interview, not just the things that he already said, but addressing those statements in the manner that he's doing is campaigning for Joe Biden. This is turning people into Joe Biden voters. There's no two ways about that. If there was ever a question, maybe, I really don't like, I hate Trump. There's no way I could vote for him. And I voted for Biden, but I didn't really like it this time. Maybe I could look at this Cornel West guy, see what's going on, and da-da-da-da-da. Not after this. Not after this. You're like, damn, things are bad. I guess I do have to vote for Biden again.
Come on, man.
I don't know, man. I don't get it. Zig says Cornel is a plant. The Dems that is sus about Biden will vote for him and not Trump. Fair enough.
I love you, brother.
I still love you too. I still love you too. I know you. I know you. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm talking about having a campaign. I'm not
exactly.
And
he's just not listening.
Okay, so,
But But the campaign is not about utilitarian calculation either. I don't look at black people like a utilitarian calculation. I can't say nothing because these people over here somehow are alienated. I'm telling the truth. I'm fighting for justice. And if people feel as if to talk about white supremacy is alienating, then they're going to be alienated. I'm talking about my mama. I'm talking about my daddy. This ain't no abstract dialogue about politics in the Machiavellian sense. Not at all,
so
my brother.
When Bernie caught...
We march together for class politics. We march together because that's real. But if you
look at his face, he's just like, what? How did we get here? How is this really happening? Is this really a doctor? I don't get it. All I said was, this is how your message is coming off. Disappointing indeed. Not even from a political standpoint, but just from a man standpoint. This is childish. I don't want any man to be behaving this way publicly. No, you got the wrong earplugs. You're disappointing me. Come on, bro.
think that talking about white supremacy is just identity politics, we got deep disagreement. That's all. So I'm sorry to go on, and
no,
you're very kind to let me go.
No,
on.
go right ahead. No, go right ahead. I don't. And honest, everything I'm saying here coming from my heart. I want your campaign to succeed, and I want you to have the strongest campaign possible. But Bernie caught on because he would always, if he was given a cultural question or an identity politics question, he would always bring it back to class and economics. And it doesn't. Well, here I was talking to one of Bernie's.
He's 70.
Campaign managers, and this is what he said. Yes, I personally agree white supremacy is one of the causes, but if I lose two potential allies because they roll their eyes and stop listening before I get to their concerns, I've already lost.
Boom. Exactly. If they're not listening by the time you address their concerns, then it doesn't matter what you have to say. It doesn't matter what your plan is, because you've already lost them. You've already lost them. Glumtex said, oh, yeah, we definitely need a president that makes his policies my mama, my daddy. That might be a little bit racist, but we'll let it fly. We'll let it fly. Yeah.
Supremacy is one of the causes. But if I lose two potential allies because they roll their eyes and stop listening.
If I lose two potential allies because they roll their eyes and stop listening.
Before I get to their concerns, I've already lost.
I've already lost.
The civil rights advancements, women's rights, the environmental movement, they didn't happen because people like my dad voted Democrat because that stuff mattered to them. It happened because Democrats appealed to them on economic issues, and a lot of the Democrats they voted for because of economics also happened to vote for that other stuff, and it doesn't work in the inverse. So I'm just that.
I missed that last part. Sorry.
For that, a lot of the Democrats they voted for because of economics also happen to vote for that other stuff, and it doesn't work in the inverse.
Oh, so yeah. Obviously, that if you're voting, if you're voting left because of economic policies, then you may go along with the woke stuff, but it doesn't work the other way. You can't lead with the woke stuff and hope that the people who are interested in the liberal or the democratic economic stuff are going to go along with it just because you have the woke stuff. Like, come on. I'm innocent here. Zavita Strain said, then all he knows is how to argue is race and fascism. He cannot get out of his tunnel vision. Yep. Is there a better example of an echo chamber, of somebody stuck in an echo chamber? Come on.
So I'm just giving that to you.
No, I understand.
Do you though?
You can see again how I disagree. Keep in mind, bro, civil rights movement was not because of white folk doing X or Y. It was because it was a social movement led by black people in the South that was multiracial, but led primarily by black folk.
Yes, please lecture. So first tell me that I'm not listening when I'm the one who is listening and has things to say, but you can't tell me what I said to you. First, I'm not listening. Then I have the wrong earplugs in. And now I'm disappointing. And now you're mansplaining or black-splaining or diversity-splaining the civil rights movement to me. you've got my vote.
Neither party would have done anything without that social movement.
100% right. You're 100% right. No,
Which is why, if that social movement has now been corrupted and is not working, that you need to let it go.
no doubt about it. And I think
But that's my tradition. That's my tradition. How can you talk about?
no, I love to hear you talk about all that stuff, and that's good for a radical black activist who's representing his community. But I'm just trying to impress upon you that there's better ways to run a presidential campaign.
Hey, Jimmy, I get it. You're white. You can't say it. But, you know, Guantek's on point. You cannot have a president that's all about racism. That's not going to work. That is not going to work. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And dare I say arrogant that you would think that it would. I understand why you care about black issues and this and that. But given the fact that we all are equal under the law, granted, some cultural changes can be made, but we're all equal under the law. There are better ways to run a presidential campaign. That's all Jimmy's been saying. There are better ways to do this. Nuh-uh.
And so that for a black radical activist, that's great. That's honey. But for someone who's trying to appeal to a wide swath of people, disaffected Republicans, independents, people, that's a death for that campaign. That's my opinion. That's just
We'll have to see, but keep in mind, though, brother, that one, I've never ever said that all of the followers of Brother Trump are fascists. I said he's a neo-fascist.
Did Jimmy say that you said that everybody who's followers of Brother Trump are fascists? Or I think he's going to say neo-fascist here? Like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? What happened? What words do you think Jimmy just said that went into your brain and made you say, well, I need to clarify that I never said that all the followers of Brother Trump are fascists? Maybe I'm stupid. Let's run it back. Maybe I'm stupid.
Appeal to a wide swath of people, disaffected Republicans, independents, people. That's a death for that campaign. That's my opinion. That's just
we'll have to see, but keep in mind, though, brother, that one, I've never ever said that all of the followers of Brother Trump are fascists. I said he's a
Nope, not dumb. I didn't miss anything. I just don't know what he's talking about. Zig says, good faith empathy, but not understood. Yep. I mean, I don't blame, like, he's not, I don't think he's being malicious here. I just think that he's wrong. And that, you know, it doesn't, you know, as if he's saying Weiner was worse. And Weiner, when Anthony Weiner was on PBD and we covered that, he was being purposely obfuscating things. Now, of course, PBD did, you know, throw some gotcha journalism on him. But that was more antagonistic. This is somebody coming to you saying, hey, I want you to accomplish the task that you are trying to accomplish. I agree with the things that you are saying, and I want your message to be spread further. But I fear that this aspect, this factor, is causing your great message to be lowered, to be undercut by your own words. And if you just do this, or if you just don't do that, then you can do better. Your message can get further, and you may actually succeed in what you're trying to do. And then he's just talking about whatever he's talking about. Unwanted Foe said he may never have said they were fascist, but he definitely said that they're racist. Yep. I think he's even going to step on his own statement here.
All of the followers of Brother Trump are fascists. I said he's a neo-fascist Pied Piper. His followers, 1 out of 8 went with Bernie, 1 out of 12 went with Barack Obama. He's got a heterogeneous, diverse group. And I can speak my language of truth and justice as it connects to capitalism, imperialism, white supremacy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Listen to this sentence. This is
Obama. He's got a heterogeneous, diverse group, and I can
Are you ready for this?
speak my language.
I can speak my language of truth and justice. I can speak my language of truth and justice.
Connects to capitalism, imperialism.
I can speak my language of truth and justice as a connection to capitalism, imperialism, white supremacy, male supremacy,
transphobia, whatever it is. And there's going to be some people who listen, and there's going to be some people who don't. But this is not just a question of political calculation and Machiavellian reflection, brother.
Absolutely it is. When you are running for president, that is precisely what it is. It's a political calculation. So fine. All right. I guess we're all on the same page. If he's agreeing that, well, some people are going to like it and some people are not going to like it. That's not how you win. That's not how you win.
And there's going to be some people who listen, and there's going to be some people who don't. But this is not just a question of political calculation and Machiavellian reflection, brother. This is about the quest for truth and justice. You got to be real. You got to be authentic. I'm not listening to consultants who tell me to use this particular kind of language with this group and this kind of language with that group. That is the essence of managerial bourgeois politics.
That is the essence of winning a presidential election. So if you're so far above being a man of the people, then again, sir, I say you do not deserve my vote or anyone else's. How did we get here?
I reject it.
So,
and we reject you, bro. It's all good. Like the feeling's mutual. It's okay.
I heard you say one time that someone asked you the same question. Why don't you call Joe Biden a fascist, but you call Donald Trump a fascist? And one time you said that it was because Donald Trump criminalizes and demonizes his political opponents. And that's what fascists do. Well, of course, now they've been trying to criminalize and put in jail Donald Trump, Joe Biden's #1 political opponent, just like they did in Brazil and Pakistan. And so the global elite is doing this to anybody, and they'll do it to you if you actually become a threat. They will criminalize you. They've already started to call
you ain't going to be a threat to anybody.
You right-wing and white supremacist yourself. And that's the game. They'll call you a sexist. They're going to call you, your followers are going to be sexist, violent, racist, and white supremacist. All that. You're already been called a right-winger by the establishment. So that's the game that they play.
And game it is indeed. It is a game. And if you're not willing to play the game as the game is set up, then you are going to lose. And that's fine. I don't want you to win. But if you want to win, then you should want to win. If you want to win, you should want to win. Zig said, he says brother a lot. He's transphobic. Oh, good one, good one. Zippy says, how is talking about race and minorities all the time in 70s nomenclature helpful to anyone? It's not.
And what they're doing right now is trying to throw in prison
still got no stream sponsor. Anybody want to be a stream sponsor?
Anybody who the donor class doesn't want to run and is going to win, they'll throw in prison. They'll do it to Bernie. They russiagated Bernie. They said all his followers were sexist and racist and violent. They said the same thing that they say about Trump. And they would have criminalized Bernie and put him in jail if he had a spine and he would have stood up to the establishment instead of folding into it. So it's important, I think, that people call out what's happening right now. I don't like Trump one bit. I oppose almost everything he says. Almost everything he says.
Almost. But this is going to be interesting too, because again, often because we are more on that cultural right side of things, and we talk about culture more than actual policy here. But the criticisms of the whole system that I think a lot of us have, when you can hear them in a slightly different perspective, a slightly different context, it's very valuable to be able to do that, because typically if you have a criticism of a thing and you agree with somebody else and have that same criticism, then you're likely going to align on many other things. But if you have a criticism of this thing and then that person has a different criticism of the same thing, then at least in politics, you can connect a lot of other dots.
And but he called for ending NATO, so I join him with that, and I'll join with anybody to do good and nobody to do wrong. Okay.
Same here. I'm with you I'm with you on that too.
And so what's happening right now is what they usually do in third world countries, but they're doing it right here. The donor class doesn't want Donald Trump to become president, and he will if he's allowed to run. And so they did this. They did they're now 4 different indictments, each one more ridiculous than the last. And here, RICO, the Georgia anti-racketeering law, is being used to charge Donald Trump. And now the reason I bring this up,
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to hear how he's going to say that this isn't some sort of precedent. I cannot wait to hear, because I don't know how. I mean, it seems like Jimmy Dore is up on all the Biden Burisma BS, all that kind of corruption. But I cannot wait. I cannot wait to hear West try to defend this.
Is because they're the same people that did that to Donald Trump are using the RICO charges to go after activists from Stop Cop City. So let me just give you the story and then you can comment on it. So
Sure.
Georgia prosecutors have filed racketeering charges against 61 people accused of involvement with Stop Cop City, a protest movement against a controversial Atlanta police training facility. The list of defendants suggests that the case implicates people who have already been arrested on tenuous evidence, like a legal observer who was jailed while monitoring protests, activists who ran a bail fund for other defendants, and a trio of activists arrested while handing out flyers with the name of a cop who killed a fellow protester.
Hey, shout out to Melted Mind Media. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Morty, come here. Morty, come here. Oh, he's laying down right here. Come here. Look, come. Oh, he's scared. It's storming here. You can check weather.com. It really is. But thank you. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so much. And of course, Melted Mind Media is an awesome YouTuber that I've done a number of collabs with. I just dropped the link to his channel. Please go check that out.
The RICO charges come as Georgia's RICO statute receives national attention. Donald Trump and a collection of his associates were charged under the state's severe RICO statute last month. The same grand jury that indicted Donald Trump on RICO charges also indicted the Stop Cop City defendants. Are you getting the game now? The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that on Tuesday, the Cop City Vote Coalition, a group that gathered more than 100,000 signatures to put the facility's construction up for a vote this year, condemned the charges as authoritarian measures by Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr.
And authoritarian is exactly the right word. And this is where they started. With authoritarianism and fascism. But again, I can't wait to hear how Cornel West is going to explain this.
The group also noted that charging documents describe the alleged racketeering scheme as beginning before the police training facility was even announced. Lauren Reagan, executive director of the Civil Liberties Defense Fund, which has been working in support of defendants, said the scope of the case is designed to dissuade people from supporting the Stop Cop City movement. It's been very clear that Georgia's intentions and how they've conducted themselves regarding the resistance to Cop City has been to try and scare even above ground law-abiding participants from taking part. I think by roping in a legal observer and people running a nonprofit and running a lawful bail fund is absolutely intended to scare people from supporting this cause now and in the future.
Jesus Christ, bro. Break it up. You're asking, this is definitely a lefty thing. Where because they are so entrenched in the articles and the studies and what this person said and when that person said and whatever, that they'll throw things back and they'll be trying to have a conversation, but they'll be just throwing back and forth things that they're reading, and the other person can't see it, so they say it really fast because they're reading and they can obviously read it, and then the other person's supposed to remember all of that and then respond to it, and when they can't, that's seen as some big dunk. So Jimmy's going to finish saying this, but what do you have to say about that? And he's going to be like, wait, so which part? Like, see, you can't even I don't like that tactic. I don't like it at all.
September of 21, Atlanta approved plans to build a police training facility dubbed Cop City by opponents in the city's South River Forest. The plans were controversial. Approximately 70% of locals who weighed in during a public comment opposed the facility, citing its cost, $90 million, its environmental impact, and its potential effect on over-policing in Atlanta.
All right, put a 1 in the chat if when he's done reading this, we want to go back and understand what the hell he's rattling on about. Put a 1 in the chat if you have not been understanding all of this.
When the city moved ahead with the plans for construction, activists protested on the proposed construction site. Police shot and killed a protester, Manuel Tortuga Esteban Paez Terán, in January when they accused Terán of firing a gun. Subsequent autopsies have cast doubt on those claims. Soon after Terán's killing, police charged 19 more Stop Cop City activists with terrorism, despite many being accused of nothing more than misdemeanor trespassing around the proposed construction site. In a later crackdown, police conducted mass arrests at Stop Cop City.
All right, I'm not even going to waste your guys' time. Let's just go back to this and see what is he talking about. So I think that, you know, I thought that they were talking about the indictment. Yeah, right. I thought they were talking about he was talking about the Trump indictment. That's what all this was. Now, Stop Cop City. What is this? So, all right, let's go through this. So, Georgia prosecutors have filed racketeering charges against 61 people accused of involvement with this Stop Cop City, a protest movement against a controversial police training facility. Okay, so the Stop Cop City people don't want up, yeah, right. He brought up a whole bunch of things, and then he's going to throw it to Cornel. Like, well, what do you think? So, prosecutors have filed racketeering charges against the people who are protesting a certain type of police training.
Can comment on it. So George,
I'll just give you the story, and then you can comment on it.
Georgia prosecutors have filed racketeering charges against 61 people accused of involvement with Stop Cop City, a protest movement against a controversial Atlanta police training facility. The list of defendants suggests that the case implicates people who have already been arrested on tenuous evidence.
Okay, so of the Stop Cop people, the people who don't like this training facility, a lot of them already have arrest records.
Like a legal observer who was jailed while monitoring protests, activists who ran a bail fund for other defendants, and a trio of activists arrested while handing out flyers with the name of a cop who killed a fellow protester.
Yeah, I want to vote. While we're having this debate, I'm going to hold it by reading off this 20-page dissertation I put together. Oh, don't ask questions. Like, why? So apparently they're also getting RICO charges. Let's see.
The RICO charges come as Georgia's RICO statute receives national attention. Donald Trump and a collection of his associates were charged under the state's severe RICO salute last month statute.
Yeah, but that's why I was confused, because that's what I thought they were talking about. But the only connection is that Trump was also charged under RICO, but this is something else.
Last month, the same grand jury that indicted Donald Trump on RICO charges also indicted the Stop Cop City defendants.
So that's the big part there. It's saying the same grand jury, the Stop Cop City people. And again, I don't know much about them, but by the way that he's reading it, it sounds like they didn't do anything wrong or shouldn't be arrested or whatever. And that's just going off my speculation based on how he's speaking about this. So he's saying the same people that went after the Stop Cop City people with RICO, same exact grand jury.
You getting the game now? The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that on Tuesday, the Cop City Vote Coalition, a group that gathered more than 100,000 signatures to put the facility's construction up for a vote this year, condemned the charges as authoritarian measures by Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr.
So they're saying, so the same grand jury is saying that the Stop Cop City people getting a petition is authoritarian.
The group also noted that charging documents described the alleged racketeering scheme as beginning before the police training facility was even announced.
So maybe that there's some fuckery afoot that they were ready to to fight protesters before they were even building the facility. Not really sure, but moving on.
Lauren Reagan, executive director of the Civil Liberties Defense Fund, which has been working in support of defendants, said the scope of the case is designed to dissuade people from supporting the Stop Cop City movement.
Okay, so if it's specifically to make people stop supporting a movement, that is political in nature. That's not saying they did this, they did that. They're saying we don't want you to follow this ideology or this group that's espousing this ideology. So I guess, again, I'm gathering that he's saying this particular grand jury is very politically motivated. And in the same way they're going after Trump, they're going after this other protest group. That's what I think we have here.
It's been very clear that Georgia's intentions and how they've conducted themselves regarding the resistance to Cop City has been to try and scare even above ground law-abiding participants from taking part.
So like the same way that they went super hard on the J6ers, that to say anything in support of Trump, to say anything in to advance the idea that there is a legitimate reason to think that maybe, possibly, we could look in to see if whether or not there was corruption in the 2020 election.
I think by roping in a legal observer and people running a nonprofit and running a lawful bail fund is absolutely intended to scare people from supporting this cause now and in the future.
Again, just they're charging people with crimes to scare them away from an ideology.
September of 21, Atlanta approved plans to build a police training facility dubbed Cop City by opponents in the city's South River Forest. The plans were controversial. Approximately 70% of locals who weighed in during a public comment opposed the facility, citing its cost, $90 million, its environmental impact, and its potential effect on over-policing in Atlanta.
So apparently 70% of the people who were aware were against this particular facility. So it does seem like the people did not want this. So if if it's 70%, 70% of locals who weighed in. So that's not a real clear number. How many of what percentage of the locals weighed in? Maybe it was just 5 of them. But if 70% of locals who weighed in oppose the facility, then it would make sense that this Stop Cop City organization is in line with what the public wants. That's what I'm thinking. I wanted to post it. Brother, 20 words or less. You wish. But that's what I'm here for. I got you. Daniel says the ideology of crime. Man, if you did this under 20 words, people would actually be able to figure out what the fuck he means. Yeah, but that's the problem. That's the problem with so many lefties, is that it's like, why can't you just say this? Why can't you just, there was a cop facility in Atlanta that people didn't want. 70% of the people weren't about it. And the same grand jury used the RICO charge for that. And they used the RICO charge for Trump. What's wrong with that? Melted Mind Media said at Cop City, nobody is going to get pulled over. So how's the city going to get paid for? Good one. All right. So that's what I'm gathering so far, is that he's trying to say that the grand jury is corrupt because they went after the Stop Cop City people, even though the public support was around 70%. And that is the same grand jury that went after Trump. Said, what's wrong? What's wrong with that? I don't know what's wrong with that. I don't know the fact that you made a cogent statement. Are you saying what's wrong with that? I don't know you made a cogent statement, or what's wrong with that question mark? I don't know the fact that you made a cogent statement. Guys, punctuation. Come on.
Environmental impact and its potential effect on over-policing in Atlanta. When the city moved ahead with the plans for construction, activists protested on the proposed construction site. Police shot and killed a protester, Manuel Tortuga Esteban Paez Terán, in January when they accused Terán of firing a gun.
Okay, so now this is getting a little more interesting, that this Stop Cop City might not be as kosher as we're talking about. Remember, he said that most of them had a criminal record.
Subsequent autopsies have cast doubt on those claims.
Or maybe not.
Soon after Turan's killing, police charged 19 more Stop Cop City activists with terrorism, despite many being accused of nothing more than misdemeanor trespassing around the proposed construction site.
Yeah, so that's what's going on here. This grand jury is corrupt, and he's using Stop Cop City, despite the fact that these people had criminal records. They didn't do anything in in these particular circumstances that that was illegal, but they're getting charged with the RICO Act because the whoever wants to scare people away.
In a later
And again, I don't know why he couldn't have just said that.
crackdown, police conducted mass arrests at Stop Cop City Music Festival, accusing some people of engaging in property damage at a nearby protest. On the questionable basis that those people allegedly had mud on their shoes. The music festival was held in a forest. One of those legal observers was an attorney with the Southern Poverty Law Center and the National Lawyers Guild. Footage appears to show Thomas Jurgens being arrested while wearing one of the neon green hats that identifies NLG legal observers. We had some differences. When I say we, I mean myself and the Attorney General's office, about who should be charged with
who. We're just gonna
what they should.
Well, I can't be on not that much longer. Jesus. All right, I'm gonna keep. I mean, that's basically the story. That the grand jury is corrupt. That's. I can't. Okay, you know what? I'm taking a picture of this. I cannot wait for your first live stream. I cannot wait for your first live stream. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun in your chat. Shout out to Lefty Lucy. Welcome to the party. Said Rico could be constructed to say 5 people knitting in a park are terrorists. Stupid law. That's the whole point that Jimmy Dore is making. Thank you, Lefty Lucy, for actually being able to just say this instead of having to read this long, drawn-out article. Welcome to the party. Welcome.
Be charged with, Boston told WABE. She added that Jurgens' case was one of the touch points of a number of touch points that ultimately led me to make the decision that I have made here now. The value set of our office is that I will only proceed on cases that I believe I can make beyond a reasonable doubt.
So then more people are just saying like, no, this is legit. I promise.
RICO charges also name 3 activists who were arrested this summer and charged with money laundering and charity fraud connected to their work running a bail fund that supported Stop.
No, not Lefty. You understand it because I broke it down. We played it and nobody here knew what the hell was going on, myself included. We had to stop and like, okay, what are you saying here? What does it say? What does it say? Because he didn't tee it up. He didn't say, if he had just said, listen to this story about the same grand jury that indicted Trump, then we would have some framing for, you're just throwing words at us. You know what's in your head. We don't know what's in your head yet. So this is all just like okay, there's this is going on and that's going on. What's the point? You know what I mean?
Cop City defendants. Prosecutors allege that the trio committed felonies by spending some of the fund's money on such things as gasoline, forest cleanup, totes, COVID rapid tests, media, yard signs, and other miscellaneous expenses. Marlon Couts, one of the bail fund organizers named in the RICO charges, told the Daily Beast that the indictment was part of an effort to discredit activists. These indictments are just the latest chapter in a long-running campaign by Governor Kemp and Atlanta authorities.
So this is really it. These indictments, the ones we just heard about with Stop Cop City, are just the latest chapter in a long running campaign, and so on and so forth. That's what his point was. Let's see what the last thing. Judges question the constitutionally. Yeah, judges of question the constitutionality of it. So that all of that to say, the grand jury is corrupt. I wanted to said worse than Biden's Emperor Palpatine stage speech. I'll pretend, for the sake of the show, that I know what that means.
position and it won't work. That's exactly what they're doing to Donald Trump.
Long drink for a small drink of water, or long walk for a small drink of water.
That's exactly what they'll do to you. That's exactly what they'll do to Bernie Sanders. That's exactly what they'll do to me. They'll do to anybody who is a threat to the establishment. And
Let
so,
me get a word in. Let me get a word in.
so I'm going to let you. So I just want you to. So
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Take it where you will.
Real quick, I just want to see what the timestamp is when he started. He started reading this at 26:35. We are now at 32:09. That's 7 straight minutes, 6 straight minutes.
I'm very glad that you're zeroing in on the struggle to shut down Cop City. I'm in deep solidarity with them. We're working together in the coming weeks, virtually and so forth. But there's a logical fallacy, a rational gap.
Okay, I know my logical fallacies, bro. I know my logical fallacies. So lay it on me. Where's the logical fallacy?
Your attempt to compare freedom fighters against a vicious system in the name of everyday folk in ghettos, in hoods, and working class communities against the police versus Trump. Trump, I'm not in solidarity with Trump. I want him to have a fair trial. I'm not in solidarity.
Wait. Hold on. I thought you said there was a logical fallacy. I'm waiting for the logical fallacy.
Trump, simply because they use the same law against courageous, visionary freedom fighters against police brutality and police murder versus the same law against a gangster like Trump doesn't put Trump on a spectrum with freedom fighters, brother, at all. It doesn't put him on the spectrum at all.
So his argument is that just because some people got unjustly charged doesn't mean that Trump was unjustly charged. I guess technically you're right. But what's your point? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that. But what's the evidence to the alternative?
That's the fundamental difference between you and I in this case. But I'm glad you're talking about shutting down Cop City, because we know it's planned to be in a number of other cities as well. When I'm in Mississippi, it was a goon squad. The goon squad is shot through cities across the country. We saw it in Memphis, it's in Atlanta, it's in Chicago. But the idea of you recognizing that the same weaponization against these courageous freedom fighters is somehow...
The freedom fighters who are burning down buildings and shooting at cops and... Gotcha, okay.
On a spectrum with Trump, I radically reject that. I want a fair trial, but I think he's probably done a number of things that warrants a serious fair trial with him going to jail, but we shall see.
So the people that I like, they're innocent. They're freedom fighters. But the same people who unjustly are charging these freedom fighters, I trust them totally to charge Trump. Like, it's Trump, right?
You're for prosecuting the last president after he loses an election. You think that's a good way to run a democracy? Because again,
this is the point that you need to be making. It's not about whether he did this, that. It's about setting a precedent. Whether or not, that is the biggest part of sending a president to jail. That is the biggest thing with charging a president, is setting the precedent. I would have preferred if it was always that any crimes that a president did, they were charged. But that's not the world we live in. And so if you want to start with Trump being that guy, then you have to make the argument that that is better for the country than allowing the status quo. That is your burden to prove. And there is no way that you can genuinely believe that. You just don't like him, so you want to get rid of him. Biden is running. I don't understand how you don't see that if you once you open Pandora's box, there is nothing that will stop every one of the Democrats from being arrested for whatever they do. I'm not all about it. Did I say democracy? I don't think I said democracy. When did I say democracy? Oh, he said democracy. Yeah. Hey, welcome to the party Deadly Pube. Am I actually Indian Jesus? Indeed, I am the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Welcome to the party. Am I not on politics? Yeah, I should change that. I don't really use Twitch that often, but welcome to the party. If you would prefer to join us over on YouTube, the link is right there. Welcome.
You don't see the connection.
Let me back that up, actually.
Loses an election. You think that's a good way to run a democracy? Because again, you don't see the connection that this is the donor class criminalizing anybody who they don't like, and they'll do it to you, and they'll do it to Bernie, and they'll do it to anybody else. And so you don't have to like Donald Trump. I don't at all, but I see what the game is being played here. And
this is essentially Andrew Tate's Matrix argument. At the end of the day, we all know that there is some type of apparatus. If you claim to know exactly what that is, I'm gonna look at you a little weird, because how would you know? But to think that there is not this game that Jimmy's talking about, there's not this the Matrix that Andrew Tate's talking about, that doesn't actually exist in some respect, then you're crazy. Lefty Lucy says, "Are you blind? How could he be anything other than that? The Indian Jesus." Deadly Pube says, "Are you American based? Because I just watch their politics to laugh at it." Oh, it is funny, isn't it? Yes, I am American based, and we cover exclusively American politics. Only because I don't know anything about what's going on in the rest of the world, like a true American, right? Unwanted Foe said, "Even Peter Boghossian has verified that he is the one true Indian Jesus." That is true. If you missed it, definitely check out your comments in the way. The live that I did with Peter Boghossian. That was a lot of fun. We got some more clips coming out, but yes, indeed, the official Indian Jesus.
You don't see that game being played. You don't see this game, really.
I see the game, the same law against the Proud Boys. I wanted a fair trial. I wanted to make sure they're treated, but at the same time,
they're doing to the
they are being weaponized. But I think your support of Trump is deeper than you're acknowledging.
So what? It is not the worst thing in the world to have some level of support for Trump when he's being politically prosecuted. You can call a spade a spade. This is how a lot of people, myself included, the never-Trumper who begrudgingly voted for Hillary fucking Clinton because I thought that was the only way to prevent the world from ending, eventually came around and now are able to see is that your aversion to allowing anything positive to be said about this man. Like, okay, well, there must be something. There must be something positive. No, there's not one redeemable thing about Donald Trump. That's where you lose people. Your support is a little deeper than you acknowledge. I don't think it is. I think he is very willingly and openly acknowledging that I don't like Trump, but he is being politically prosecuted. I mean, the words that you say have meaning.
Time,
they're doing for the
they are being weaponized. But I think your support of Trump is deeper than you're acknowledging. You keep saying, "I don't like Trump. I don't like Trump." How can you compare Trump with freedom fighters against the police?
I'm not comparing. I'm not comparing that.
Oh my god. The question again. All right, I'm gonna throw it to you guys in the poll. Deadly Pube, just let me know in the chat. Is West stupid or grifting? And it can't be both. So which do you think he's doing more of? Being stupid or grifting? Is he just that dumb? Is he, oh, I see the game, but it's just no. Or is he just grifting? Yeah, Hillary Clinton saving the world. I genuinely believed that if Trump won, that the world would explode. I'd been brainwashed because I'd been watching only mainstream media. I didn't know any better. Hey, shout out to Jay Luty. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Said I'm swamped at work. Well, hopefully I can make it a little bit better for you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Meltamind Media says, I don't think Jimmy supports Trump. He just supports getting rid of the political prosecution. Exactly. That's it. Unwanted Post, it's such a lazy way to dismiss his argument. You're more Republican than you think. Yeah, right? Like, that's an insult. It's like, no, maybe I think I'm, in the position of saying, despite the fact that I don't like Trump, I don't want this to be happening to him. It's that simple. Or, I mean, that goes without saying. He's either stupid and racist or grifting and racist, but he's definitely not racist. That's non-negotiable.
Saying
yes,
that
you are. You
I'm saying no. I'm not saying. I'm not. It
of
is.
Of course, they're going to use it against
It
anybody
is the.
who.
It's the government. Okay. That's amazing that you don't see this. It is unbelievable that you don't see this. This is such a loser for you.
There's opportunity to show the deep differences. Very deep differences, though. But you do what you got to do, and I'm doing what I got to do, and I learn from you.
You're doing what you got to do, or you're doing what you want to do? Because it seems like Jimmy's telling you what you got to do, but you're just doing what you want to do. Well, my media says to the leftist, Republican equals wrong. Exactly. When I was in, before I was red-pilled, Republican was a dirty word. To be right-wing was like, right-wing. That was evil. Times, they are a-changing. You said he's senile. I don't think he's senile. He's very aware of what's going on. He's just stubborn. He thinks that he knows everything. He thinks that because his intentions are pure, that it doesn't matter if his message is what it should be, or if his message is reaching the people that he wants to reach and reaching them in the way that he wants it to reach them, which clearly it's not. Twice now, Jimmy Dore has tried to help you with this, and you're still just doing the same shit. So, like, I don't understand how you're saying I'm doing what I got to do when he's telling you, you got to do this or you got to not do this, and then you do it. Another one media says doing what he has to do to make that paycheck. Money. Absolutely corruption. Lefty Lucy said lefties are kooky. Indeed, they are. Yeah, he's pedantic is a good word for him. Definitely. Good word for him.
Such a loser for you.
There's opportunity to show the deep differences. Very deep differences, though. But you do what you got to do, and I'm doing what I got to do, and I learn from you. And I hope you can learn a little bit from me, but we shall see.
Learn what from you? What is it that you have espoused here that we can learn? Oh, the freedom fighters, they're not the same as Donald Trump. Have you made any other claims?
The biggest story of my lifetime, if it wasn't Russiagate, which led directly to the Ukraine war. And I said it was going to in 2017 when they did this. And I told everybody at the Young Turks, they're going to use this to start a war. They're going to use this. And they did. And so here we are. And what I want to the second biggest story is probably the COVID lockdown, if not the biggest. And so many people who were supposed to be out in front on this dropped the ball. People like Noam Chomsky. So here's the Green Party, what they said. They said the Green Party, which you're running with, the Green Party of the United...
We only have so much longer, but let's break it down.
United States Steering Committee strongly supports the use of vaccines, vaccine mandates, and quarantines as part of a comprehensive public health effort to curb and eradicate the novel coronavirus pandemic that has swept the globe since early 2020.
I thought the Green Party was like the natural environmental party. What's natural and environmental about these vaccines? Six says he's alt Biden. Yeah. Like, okay, all right, let's move on.
The whole thing was a hoax. And here's what the Black Caucus of the Green Party said. They said the National Black Caucus of the Green Party of the United States strongly opposes the use of forced vaccination via mandates and the discrimination that is being generated around these policies.
Based Black Caucus.
Lockdowns, mandates, and passports are the major issue of the day, with millions of people protesting against them worldwide. In fact, what has become known as the medical freedom movement is arguably the biggest and most diverse international movement in world history.
Damn.
Vaccine mandates and vaccine passports are among the most vile, unconstitutional, immoral, unscientific, discriminatory, and outright criminal policies ever forced upon the population, and goes against everything the Green Party stands for under social justice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So again, I would love to hear how he responds to this, his own caucus, the Black Caucus of the Green Party, saying no to all of this, but the Green Party et al. Saying, yeah, we're down with it. But he is the one who can't put race issues aside. He is the one that can't put race issues aside. So let's see where he stands on this.
These policies are coming from an out-of-control government at the behest of the pharmaceutical industry. The mainstream media and social media are also working in lockstep to censor any and all doctors, scientists, and investigative journalists who have an opposing view or who even question the current mainstream media orthodoxy. Workers are being forced out of their jobs, many with medical exemptions from their doctors. Students are being denied entrance to educational institutions. Needed medical treatment is being denied. Medical privacy is being violated. Constitutionally protected rights to movement and assembly, including the right to travel, are being threatened. Rights to normal societal participation are being decimated.
I mean, at least shout out to the Black Caucus of the Green Party for being a little bit better with articulating their point than whatever he was reading from before.
It has taken a while, but more recently, many medical professionals, elected officials, and federal judges have come out fully against lockdowns.
Finally, except Dr. Fauci, I never said that we should lock things down. I was just saying that you should not wear a mask, but the mask you should wear for the droplets.
Vaccine mandates, vaccine passports, and of course, massive censorship. The National Black Caucus of the Green Party of the United States adheres to the principle that informed consent in all personal health and medical decisions is an inalienable human right. Under no circumstances shall any medical treatment or procedure, including psychotropic...
Bro, you could have just read the first one and let it hit. And now you're just rambling again.
Medications, vaccines, or other injectable treatments be mandated or coerced. Individuals should be allowed to protect and heal themselves in a manner that best supports their medical spiritual beliefs.
Damn. So I guess it's clear or obvious to say that the Black Caucus of the Green Party is not a fan of Dr. Fauci. What about Cornel West?
So, I just wanted. I don't understand why you aren't outraged by that. Do you share the sentiment of the Black Caucus of the Green Party, and have you talked to them?
Well, one thing, it's good to have a Green Party where you have a variety of different voices.
That was not the question. Do you agree? Have you talked to them? Well, when you have a party, you want to have variety of this and make sure that you want to do that. And, we want to have this. And now I'm talking about something completely different. So I can say the thing that I want to say instead of answering your question. It's very transparent. Welcome to whatever. How you doing? Welcome to the party. Not the whatever podcast, are you? I mean, if you are, please come on up. Yeah, for real. But yeah, he's gonna go into some other BS. Just answer the question. Have you talked to them? And do you agree?
Do you share the sentiment of the Black Caucus of the Green Party, and have you talked to them?
Well, one thing, it's good to have a Green Party where you have a variety of different voices that are clashing, and the tensions are very real.
Is it a good thing that the voices within your own party are clashing and tensions are very real? That sounds like not a good thing. But what do I know? A bunch of folks said Dore and DeSantis have the same speech coach. I mean, hey, at least dude is just reading the news. He's not trying to be the president. Whatever said, which is not what he did on the news interview I watched on Jimmy's show. What is it? Sorry, I don't know, whichever one. Let me know what you're talking about.
I think there's no doubt that the pharmaceutical company has played a disproportionate role in shaping public policy. I think the kind of concerns that you and RFK Jr. and others have certainly are well grounded in that sense. On the other hand, we know there's been a whole host of vaccines in regard to other kinds of illnesses that are much more effective. The question becomes making sure, and one of the things I want to.
Yep, this is what the Jimmy Dore Show called this. Cornel West does a 45-minute commercial for Joe Biden, and Jimmy Dore told him. He told him, this is what you're doing. You are hurting yourself. You're shooting yourself in the dick. This is a loser for you over and over and over again. He said that. But West just wants to do what West wants to do. He wouldn't be a West if he wasn't doing what he wanted to do, despite the advice of people close to him.
And we know there's been a whole host of vaccines in regard to other kinds of illnesses that.
All right, so let's see. Whatever. When you said he changed the subject and started talking about what he wanted to talk about, that's what Jimmy was talking about on his show as he was watching Dr. West in an interview about a month ago. Yep. He is. He'll just talk and talk and talk. Whatever goes on to say, you did not change the subject. He literally was answering what the person was asking, but that's what I was referring to. He did not. All right. Well, let's see if he does it here.
Others have with policy. I think the kind of concerns that you and RFK Jr. and others have certainly are well grounded in that sense. On the other hand, we know there's been a whole host of vaccines in regard to other kinds of illnesses that are much more effective. The question becomes making sure, and one of the things I want to do, I want to have a truth commission to find out exactly what was the level of corruption that took place during these years, be able to see not just the text, we know the books are out there, but to have a truth commission so that we can see what voices were marginalized, what voices were pushed aside. And
so the government had a committee for the government to see if the government was doing right by the government.
What?
And you trust that after everything that we've just been talking about, after the last 3 years of living in America, the last 3 years of listening to Dr. Fauci lie, and no answers to whether he has spoken to the Black Caucus of the Green Party or if he agrees with them.
So that we can see what voices were marginalized, what voices were pushed aside, and make sure it never happens again. I resonate with the spirit of what my green Black brothers and sisters are saying. But
okay, he resonates with the spirit of what they're saying.
What?
So you agree, or
Green Party itself does allow this kind of disagreement and so on. But I'll say this though, brother, I know I got to go, but I must say, see, this is where you and I do in some ways live in different worlds, because as crucial and as important as the issue.
What do you mean Jimmy just fell into that trap? What trap? I think Jimmy is like, this is great content because this is a presidential candidate sinking his career on my show without me having to be a dick about it. So maybe there's something I'm missing, but if I'm Jimmy, I am shout out to JX Ray on Kick. Welcome to the party. Said Trump or Biden, and we are definitely a Trump channel over here. Welcome. Yeah. So unless you're talking about a different trap that I didn't see, then I think he's loving it. Whatever says that Jimmy was so disappointed at Dr. West. Yep. And he said so. It's like, dude, this could have been awesome. This could have been awesome. This could have been you taking your message, which we both agree with and like, and bolstering it. And now, instead of just it being wrapped up in, Black extremist stuff, it works for everybody. And maybe you're not going to win as the Green Party president. Fine. but at least we can force discussion of these very important issues. But that's not what happened. Shout out to Steve. Welcome to the party. Said whatever, nailed it right on the head. And I agree. Welcome, Steve. Zig says, Cornel trying to be... let's move on.
To vaccines and the COVID situation was. When you say that's probably the most important issue in your lifetime or in the last 25 or 30 years.
Yup. Name anything more important in the last 25 or 30 years that's more important than the entire country's bodily autonomy.
In light of all the wars, in light of what Palestinians are going through, in light of what workers are going through, 63% of them are living paycheck to paycheck, in terms of all the vicious attacks of the police and the murders and so forth. And yet this vaccine issue is the most important thing. I say, okay, that's my dear brother Jimmy. He's got a right to raise his voice. I'm not going to in any way push it away, but I just live in a different world. As important as vaccines have been, if I had another chance, I'd be leaning much more with the Black caucus. But when I think of the weightiest issues, vaccines does not come immediately to mind. It just doesn't.
Well, it should. It doesn't immediately come to mind. Again, what is a bigger issue that everybody can now, not everybody, but now we can all see. I mean, look at Jimmy's face. He's like, what are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? This doesn't come immediately to mind? Then again, I say, you do not deserve to be the president. Whatever said, we need to protect our southern borders. We are fucked as long as we don't. We got there eventually. Completely agreed. Whatever. Inner cities, Dr. West. He'll win there. Just not anywhere else.
That's the kind of world we live in, brother.
Okay.
Maybe I'll spend,
Well, here it is. The Black business owners collapsed by 41%. Black business because of lockdowns. Do you care yet?
Well, no,
70,000 workers in one state were fired because of vaccine mandates.
Well, it doesn't immediately come to mind. That's because you are a liberal elite who is out of touch with the average American. You've had your head stuck in a book, your feet stuck on a college campus for too long. Go touch grass. Go talk to normal people.
When are you going to care? Do they all have to be trans? When are you going to care about these workers? What are you going to care about? What are you going to care about this?
They have to be trans for me to care.
You don't care. You don't care. Why don't you care about this?
Why would you accuse me? Of course I care about it.
You're saying it's not important.
I didn't say it wasn't important. I said it was not the most fundamental issue in my lifetime the last 30 years.
Cope. You specifically, you're brushing it off. So like it's directly in your wheelhouse of what you talk about within the microcosm of politics that is the Green Party, which is in the microcosm of that, which is the Black Caucus. They're specifically telling you that they don't want this. And it doesn't immediately come to mind. Yep, it's deflect time. Ayush said Jimmy Dore is unraveling. Yeah, he's unraveling the bullshit of the bullshit threads that's wrapped around Dr. West that have people listen to him. I don't know what you mean. He's on the ball. He's like, why don't you care? You're talking about all of these black supremacist type things, and then I give you, this is hurting black people. This is what the Black Caucus of your party says. And you're giving me all this bullshit. And Zeke says he's like, how is he like Candace Owens? Are you guys watching the same thing I'm watching?
Forced medical experiments. Forced medical experiments. The Tuskegee.
Where's the nuance?
Oh my God!
Where's the complexity?
So you missed this
nuance for what? The Tuskegee experiments happened. The vaccine mandates happened. What nuance are you looking for?
And you're not interested in getting it right.
You agree with Jimmy Dore,
so you missed the story and you're not interested. Well, Dr. West, I wish you the best. You know I love you. You know I support
you and your precious wife and your family. You stay strong, though, brother.
Okay.
I don't know what their working relationship is like, but I'm pretty sure he just brought up his wife.
Wes, I wish you the best. You know I love you. You know I support
you and your precious wife. And
that did not seem kosher. That did not seem kosher. Tuskegee is perfect. I mean, yeah, that's exactly the comparison. There is not a closer one. Whatever said, he's unraveling about the idea that he can't back Dr. West, and it's pissing him off. He wants to vote for him, but he can't believe what he's hearing. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. But Unwanted Foe said, still convinced it's stupid and not a grift. I think I agree with you guys. So we had the poll at 60% grifting, but let's do it right. Let's do it back to back right again. And let's see what it is, what you guys have to say now. Grifting or stupid?
stupid.
Same poll. Same poll. The so the poll that we're running is the same one that we just had. Is Cornel West stupid or is he grifting? And if he's doing both, which is he doing more of? Grifting, being stupid. Which one is he doing more of?
You stay strong, though, brother.
Okay, I wish you all the best. I love you. Thanks for coming on. I really do wish you all the best. And I just wish you had a clearer message to reach people, but you don't. It's muddled and it's a loser.
Oh, it's a loser. So yes, I did just drop the link. If anybody wants to come up real quick and chat, you do have to cam up, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I think it's really important. I talk about this all the time, that it's important that we understand the landscape. It's not just about, the guy that you're following. It's not just about, the party that you are, that you support. It's about what is really going on. What is what are we dealing with? And if we don't see what's going on the other side with the other people on the other team, then we get stuck in an echo chamber. And so something like that, where we can take a position and clearly get behind Jimmy Dore here. It's not that it's not that we have to be just tribalistic and say, oh, well, they're on the left, so we're not going to listen to them. It's good to understand. Number one, American Rob says he's been grifting for a long time. Yep, a long time. Yep, fumbled. Dr. West has drank his own Kool-Aid. Very, very true. Steve is here saying Jimmy really wanted to back Cornel. It was like when he was hoping the squad would use their political power to demand concessions instead of fall in line and take orders from Nancy Pelosi. Exactly. That is what he was trying to do. He was trying to help, and they essentially just spat in his face. Unwanted Foe said, crazy to see a candidate lose one of their supporters through a one-on-one interview. That's a great point. That is a great point. Let's welcome good friend of the channel, Melted Mind Media. Welcome to the party. What is good?
It's going good. It's going really good, especially watching this Jimmy Dore video. This is
what did you think about all this?
I think it just lost a lot of votes for the Green Party for sure. There's like the little chance that they did have, which was 0, it was like less than any percent chance of winning. But
yeah, well, I mean the when you talk about third party, or you just talk about not the Republicans or Democrats, then there is a value in running and getting support. Like Dave Smith with the Mises Caucus in the Libertarian Party, he talks about how like the goal is not to, obviously the goal is to win the presidency, but realistically, It's not that he thinks that whoever's running is going to win, but that they can get enough support that when it comes down to election day, or maybe not necessarily election day, but when it comes down to the actual time for people to start casting their votes and say, all right, whoever is going to be better on this issue, or whoever is going to, whatever, then we can make some demands and make sure that whatever we want, we can get something out of it instead of just being stuck with the way things are.
Yeah. And like, so how he answered that question, he brings up like that last question, how he answers it. He talks about how they talk about how the Black Caucus of the Green Party is against vaccines and everything. There's because he thinks the whole country's like, he thinks there's a lot of racist issues, right? That's like the number one issue. So he can't even say like, oh, well, I think the government now is less racist. So these things like the Tuskegee problems, like he can't even say anything like that to defend the government. So like he tries to defend the government when it's good for him. But as soon as it flips and it's something that's not going to help him and the government does it, he's like, I'm against the government and I'm tired of the big government doing this. And it's just,
and that's exactly what we saw with the grand jury, the same grand jury that charged the Stop Cop City. And I mean, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at Stop Cop City. Stop Cop City. What do we? Okay, so let's just go straight from the source. Right. What does this say? The no police military base in the Weelanui Forest. Save Atlanta has leased a bunch of acres in the forest, stolen Muskogee land. Okay, what is Cop City? Atlanta Police Foundation is trying to build the largest police training facility in the U.S. Forest. A watershed surrounded by primarily Black residents who overwhelmingly oppose the project. The plans include military-grade training facilities, a mock city to practice urban warfare, dozens of shooting ranges, and a Black Hawk helicopter landing pad. Actually sounds kind of dope.
Yeah, that does sound sounds pretty sick.
I'm not mad at it.
Why does the government get the cool stuff?
Yeah. So what is their plan? Making Atlanta the most surveilled city in the United States. The Atlanta Police Foundation funds, quote, Operation Shield, a citywide network of nearly 11,000 surveillance cameras and license plate readers that has only expanded in the round-the-clock monitoring of Black Atlantans. The Atlanta Police Foundation spent more than $2.6 million, nearly one-third of its reported 2017 expenses, on the Operation Shield surveillance program, eclipsing... Oh, there's a whole bunch here. I'm not reading all this. I just want, what do y'all do? What is...
They sit in the forest and firebomb.
All right, let's get through this. Let's get
stuff.
All right. So they spent a lot of money. Both Operation Shield and Promise Youth initiatives are part of the multi-million-dollar West Side Security Plan to increase police presence with a predominantly Black neighborhood and gentrification process. In direct contact with law enforcement, both Operation Shield and at Promise Youth initiative. Did I not just read that? Or is that part of the... Okay. Whatever. 2019 report by Technology Research Comparatech ranked Atlanta as the most surveilled city in America. Okay. Operation Shield relies on private funding and encourages private businesses to connect their cameras with the police through a video surveillance hub. Again, this all sounds like, I don't know if I want to necessarily connect to the government, but, if they come in and there's a robbery or something, I'm definitely sharing the tape. University, according to Cornel, no, different Cornel. According to a 2017 study by Cornell University, predictive policing software may spark feedback loops where police are repeatedly sent back to the same neighborhoods regardless of the true crime rate. using surveillance and crime algorithms to, quote, almost automatically identify suspects, unquote, increase unwarranted stops and searches. So this is basically like CompuStat in New York City. The idea being that they want to send the cops to where the crime is instead of just policing everywhere. Yeah, the SWAT team that are used to terrorize black people. So this sounds like you're pretty standard, like anti-cop. Black people are whatever. Then it just seems pretty standard. But it doesn't seem like they need the RICO Act to come in and stop them. So I do agree with Jimmy's point about at least it's something weird. Zig said Green Pill West might be the worst so far. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Daniel said, too bad it didn't have the same barbiturates they had at Jonestown. Yeah, that would be a little bit, that would be interesting, to say the least. Let's keep it clean. Interesting. Whatever. Says, first, Pence putting his foot in his mouth and losing the office. Now, Dr. West has done the same. I don't think Dr. West understands the reach of Jimmy Dore and the range of people who listen.
Bingo.
Well said. A lot of people who have watched that, and more will. Yeah, that's exactly the point that Jimmy Dore was trying to make. We got a shout out for Melted Mind Media from Jay here.
Well, it definitely shows. It shows the lack that West has. Like, what he doesn't understand his base at all in the slightest. He doesn't understand his base, and he doesn't understand what what actual Americans want. He's more connected to what politicians want than what actual people want.
Yeah. And that's his problem, is that he is playing, as Jimmy said, he's playing the game wrong. He's not playing the right game. Do you see the game that's being played? You're not playing that game.
I don't know much about Cornel's history, like what he did. Like, is he like a lifelong politician?
No, he's an academic. So I think he's a professor at that's not what I wanted.
He's like a Bernie Sanders type.
Yeah.
So like couch surfing.
Philosopher, Baptist minister, Princeton.
Oh,
Nope. JK. I thought that was where he was teaching. I don't know, but yeah, he's a professor and activist. So kind of makes his living doing that. So when somebody brought up Al Sharpton, not really off base. But yeah, Unwanted Foe about the what was it called? The Atlantic City or Atlanta, whatever. Like, oh sure, wire up your personal house cameras to the cops next. Got to keep you safe, right? And he's like, while you're at it, give up the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments.
That's what they want to do.
Yeah, I'm not about that.
I don't understand how you can be like, you can say like, oh, ACAB, and then you support big government and policing. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, because it's about degrees. Like, you're not an anarchist, are you?
If not in this world, in a perfect world, maybe.
Okay, so in this world, you're not an anarchist.
No,
you do believe that there is some level of government, there is some level of law and order that should happen. The discussion is, where do we draw that line? It's not that we need to get rid of policing entirely. It's that we need to focus on the aspects of policing that work and do more of that, and then look at the aspects of policing that don't work and do less of that. Very, very, and I mean, it's the same. Think about when Emma Vigilant was on with Actual Justice Warrior on the culture war. She's like, you're not for parental rights. It's the same thing about, you're not for law and order. There's degrees, there's levels to this. I'm not for, the cops being able to do whatever they want, but I absolutely am for the cops being able to solve crimes, arrest criminals, put people who don't deserve to be in society away from society. Yeah, Jay said they love making us victims. It's pissing me off. They need to make you a victim so that they can justify making themselves a victim. If you're not a victim and they're a victim, then you have the chance to kind of dissuade that notion. But when we're all in the same boat, then we're all victimized and they're coming after us and we're all oppressed. Lefty Lucy says the cops are more sexist than racist. The stats for men and women shot and killed is silly. So look into that. Rob says they don't want it to make sense to you. Facts. They don't want it to make sense to you at all. They want it to be confusing. They want you to feel like I don't get it and I need somebody who is higher authority to explain this, to run this, to whatever the case may be.
I think Lefty Lucy is joking, but like if you look at the stats, it's like who commits more crime? Men commit more crime. And who commits more violent crime or is more likely to run away from the cops? It's men. So it's more men are obviously going to be killed by cops just because you're more likely to be, a man's more likely to be involved in a situation with a cop than a woman is.
Just like we were saying the other day with middle ground, disparity does not mean discrimination. Just because more men are shot and killed or arrested or anything else does not mean it is discriminatory. It may be. But it may be that more men do crime. More men are going to run. All of those kinds of things. Exactly. Daniel Cabrera said, I think most of it is because the everyday American doesn't realize we signed an amendment to make the police a thing. Prior to that, we were all our own police officers, which is vastly more dangerous. True. I definitely agree. But again, it comes back to, okay, well, where is that line? What do we, if we don't want zero police and we don't want, authoritarianism, there's somewhere in between that we have to determine this is what we want. And it's not necessarily a thing. It's not necessarily a word. It's a collection of values. And if you understand those values, then you can hold those in your mind. You can live by those values. And then when something happens that doesn't comport with those values, you can articulate and understand why. And what about that doesn't go along with the policing that we want in America? Was it some racist, whatever? Then, okay, we don't want racist bullshit. But if it was something good, then, okay, that happened and it wasn't normal, but maybe we need to start doing that. Whatever the case may be. Constantly evolving. Rob says, nothing they do makes sense. That is the point. Keeps you talking in circles. Exactly. If they control the language, they control the culture. Well said. All right. Mountain Mind Media, any last words for the people before I give you the floor?
No, definitely the Green Party still has zero chance of ever getting in. This made him look bad, but really did it change anything? It may have moved more votes to Biden, if anything. But
probably.
Were the people that are going to vote for the Green Party going to vote for Biden anyway? Like,
probably not.
Probably not.
I want to say probably not, but now that I think about it, like this is one of the elections where we definitely would see a lot of people being like, I mean, if I was ever going to vote for a third party, this is the election.
You think?
Well, if you're not a MAGA person, then yeah, people hate Biden. People who are not MAGA don't love Trump. They just think he's better. So I could see it. But
yeah,
not after what we just saw. Yeah,
there's definitely, because there's no other party that has another chance. Like the Liberal Party is just the Democrat Party wearing a different.
You have the obviously the Democrats and Republicans. You have like the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, the I don't even know any others, to be honest.
There's probably like a bunch of small ones. Like
I know there's a bunch more, but they're irrelevant because they are just like we saw. It's not that they are outsiders; it's that they're not willing to play the game that is presented to them. So, Melody, why don't you tell the people who you are, what you do, and where can they find you?
I'm Melted Mind Media, and I help you fight the media that melts your mind. And you can find me at Melted Mind Media on YouTube and Twitter.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for hanging out, brother. I will see you in the after party. Peace. That's all right. After party in Discord. It is free to join. Come and join us. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really, really enjoyed this one with you. Sometimes when we're, kind of talking about the stuff that we will talk about all the time, then it can be easy to kind of fall into that thing of just repeating the same things that we always talk about. But I like to take a step outside of that. I like to take a different perspective so that, again, when things happen, we have a better idea of what is going on. That's all I want to do is be aware, make you guys aware so that we can be the best voters that we can be. It's all about the value in your vote. Your vote has value, and you determine what it takes to earn that. So I'm just saying, raise the bar. Raise the bar. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. And of course, a big shout out to the sponsor of the stream and my little co-host, Melted Mind Media. Thank you so much, guys. I know that it is huge. It is huge to me when you guys are hanging out here, but when you can, spread love with a little cash, it really shows me not only am I doing the right thing, not only are you enjoying this, but it allows me to look further into the future and see that I can do more and more with this. So thank you so much. But even if you can't contribute, just the time that you spend here, it's amazing. I love you guys so much. Meet me in the after party. Once again, I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.